Okay. I just want to make sure that we are good. Just want to make sure that the sound is fine and that you guys can hear everything that we're speaking about today. Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Please let me know if I'm audible. Please let me know if there are any options or any problems. Sorry. So that you can tell me and let you go. Welcome, everybody, to the Thinking Football Show. My name is Mokwena. I am your host. And this, of course, is a show where we love African football. We love African football. Every now and then they come together. Obviously, we know Bafana's out. We're going to head back into the league in about a week or two's time. And we're going to be back like normal. And we are back like normal. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. We will be here. And then, of course, if Chiefs, Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, Bafana, or Banyana are in action, we will then do watch-alongs of the game as well. So it's not just this. And if you want to watch anything back, or you came in late, you missed it, all of the shows are available in full on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch any of the live shows back. And also my podcast that I put out there, and a lot of content that I do on that side. You can join the show and add your voice to the show, because that's what this is all about. By pressing the multi-guest button at the bottom of your screen, you press it, you request, I let you in, and you can tell me what you're thinking. How it works is that we're going to have 4 panels of 5 people, and each of those 5 people are going to get 5 minutes to tell me what they think about the conversation that we're having right now. And because we love South African football so much, because we love African football so much, sometimes you have to have some very tough conversations. And today, that is what we're going to be doing, because we're going to be speaking about something very simple. Speaker, I see them. Sorry. How are you doing, Speaker? Simple. We've heard a lot about South African football. We've heard that we're the best in the continent. We've heard that we play better than other teams. We play better than Cameroon. We play better than Pyramids. We played better than Nigeria in the last AFCON. We played better than all of these different teams. But at the end of the day, the numbers, the accolades don't match. We speak about our players being the best in the continent. Salem was the best, the best young player, all of these things that we speak about. But now we're going to have a very tough situation. And I'm going to ask you a very simple question for tonight. The question is South African football that good? Is South African football actually good? Or are we just overhyping it ourselves and getting shocked when we are not getting those results? So guys, feel free to request and jump in, and we can have our conversation as we normally have it. So let me let in the first guys, and then we'll take it from there. Guys, you must state your case. Yeah, we must state your case. Today we're not just speaking, Jay. You must state your case and make your case clear. Let me welcome Tsepang to the show. Tsepang, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, hot man, Uti, I'm fine. How are you?
Man, kimunate man. Kietaba. You've got 5 minutes. Tell me, what do you think? Is South African football actually good?
South African football is good, but it's not good enough. Soccer it's a funny game. It's not like cricket or rugby. It's a game of moments and a game of capitalizing. So South African football, let me just start with Bafana first. Bafana in its best AFCON, it was knocked out by a West African team. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, it was knocked out again by a West African team. In those 2 games, all of them, those teams in Nigeria and Cameroon, they were not bullying, they were not controlling, they were not being above South Africa, but they converted their chances.
Okay.
A ball of Motaung last year, that last chance before we go to penalties, he missed it. In a normal North African or West African team, that ball is a goal. A ball of Rele the day before yesterday, in a normal West African team or North African team, is a goal. So South African football, we are living in our own world. It's something which I've realized. Same applies to Sundowns. You control, you dominate. But when it matters the most, we break. Bravo.
So ke batla go botsa, if we're saying that we dominate, is it actually dominating? I mean, Cameroon has an AFCON that they won in 2017. But Nigeria have won multiple. The northern teams have won multiple. We keep saying that we're the best. Sundowns is the best. They play the best football. One Champions League, two Champions League in the country, but one in 2016. Can we really say that we're better, or do we just prefer the football that we're seeing?
That's what I'm saying to you, that we are good, but we're not good enough. You understand? So that small edge, we're not reaching it because of we don't win when it matters the most. We don't win. So I can't say we are not good, but in this AFCON, what I've learned, Corey, my teams are above us, a lot of them, and some of the teams that are improving, and the thing which is making this football to improve, when I OT, I think abo Cameroon, abo Mali, abo Congo, they even play with players which are from France, international players which were supposed to play for other countries. As in South Africa, if one player can just joke and say, I wish to play for Bafana fan, and that person is not a South African, just like Ribeiro, even who, there was someone also who wanted to play for Bafana fan, Serino. We'll say, hey, we don't have enough players. What? And truth of the matter is that those players, their quality from Europe and South America and other different worlds, they were going to boost us. Check Mozambique. Now Mozambique is different because of its playing with players from Europe. Even other teams. But Rona, because of we're living in our own world, OT, we're living in our own world, we'll always think that we are the best in our own way. But when it matters the most, we can't win it.
When our transfer stembe di passport re ka kwa re sebetse to make sure 20 years from now.
Exactly. Look now, we are relying on when a 34 years old Tembazan is injured. No one can replace him. But do you think what if there was Ribeiro there? Wouldn't it be different? And Usipon Bule played very well. He said that we were comparing him with what Tembazan did in the previous AFCON. So to show you that even if a 34 years old man is injured, you can't replace him. We're struggling very bad. So rather, let's go and source people, because of you think you have players, but you don't have. We don't even have number 10 with OT. Number 10. Your number 10 is 34 years old, and when he's injured, you can't come to the party.
Okay, for time Mama champion. I'm good at Sepangitse Twanseba to restembe di passport, guys. Rilo bereka overseas to make sure that 18 years from now, Lenule Dimpesu, right? Let me go to Bongs.
Sure.
Bongs, Kosi, welcome. Tell me, very simple. Is our football good? Is it overhyped?
Oti, take a start felaka your typical line first.
Okay.
Foster Oga Europe, right?
Yeah.
In one of the best leagues in the world, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And the status are doing at this moment.
They're not good.
There's your answer. 2 goals, 1 assist. And then you say South African football is good. Here's another example. How many Champions Leagues does South African teams have?
2.
The first one, we win
95.
The second one?
2016, if I'm not mistaken.
That's your answer. Our football is not good. Take it another example. Rele versus Yamal. The stats. Kiana Rele rering ki superstar ya rona. Not the stats.
What's stopping us from creating a Yamal?
Our development, SAFA not willing to spend some money, schools le tsona di bolaile football. There's no football at schools. They are too focused on education. Bana ha ba sa bapala sports or outside.
Yeah.
Yes, Oti.
Is that enough, Bongs? Is that enough? Because I mean, Likoni Kolong, who's coaching your kid? Because Kolong, Kintatem Fukeng, math teacher, we get a part time. Will that help create stars?
It won't help create stars because ba bapala only local. Ha ba tsamaile ka dikolo ba nwa ba lwana instead of trying to have a team etla thusang in the near future for their careers. Le di parents sometimes ba na lo bapala role abanke football se ba re it's not a career that could last long. So kids in South Africa, they are too focused on things like drugs and but focused on other things that are not football wise. So football la gona e shwa ka hobane talent ko locationing ha e shebu le yona cause bana ba bang ba dula ba shebile di drugs and alcohol aba focusa on football. So our football lacks a lot. Le bona batho bana ha se ba kene inside. For example, Mbuli he's been being questioned about this alcohol thing. This is why Alatamisu listen down. So I saw Alunwa out to Atamisu. And right now he's the scapegoat of Bafana's losses because I created anything. And right now, we are trying to make Mbule look like Tambazwan. Because Rona right now, Zwan Kiana the best, Ali 34 years old. Because how na mutumung abatang who step up and try and become the next Yamal or the next Haaland or the next Cristiano Ronaldo.
Is it about somebody stepping up? Is it about somebody wanting that, or do you build that?
Well, it's about somebody stepping up, but leading coaches don't give other people a chance to show who they can step up. Because look at Sundowns right now. They'd rather go and buy outside the Portugal instead of trying to see who's here in South Africa and who can be a superstar in South Africa and help South Africa become a team that is not overhyped. Yes.
Okay. Now, Marabams, okay. Last question. Is it unfair to relate to Yamal?
I'd say it's unfair because our football is way different from what Yamal is being taught out there go Spain.
Okay. For time, let me jump in, guys. Don't forget to tap the screen, please. Tap the screen. Let me go to Prati, Dumela.
Otizo, how are you, my brother?
Kimonate man, Prati kietaba. Is our football actually good or ke rona re hypang?
We hyper too much. But you believe about any country, but hyper the countries upon even with Tanzania, but hyper football upon, but we hyper too much. But I don't think you are that good. I think we are still developing, bro. We are still developing because of how if the country are not good, kabere bella the Champions League or the Champions League is a guy, Rwina the AFCON is a guy. Labo hello and Rwina AFCON in a lilling. Labo hello and Rwina Champions League in a lilling. Yes, keep 2016 Maranal is a guy. Only two. And teams are not the dala go Champions League, the final, but I don't think we are that good. We are still developing bra OT. And a little being a challenge development. I think challenge partnership the academy with Europe bra OT similar export the player to Europe or the maybe from different environment bra OT. I think somewhere somehow it go to sabra utilar
Mara Prati team how Barry they have the best facilities in Africa, but they rival the ones in Europe. Babang wababona bansa di chelete ba spend di chelete bareka di players ko South America bareka di players from ko di Europe. Babang kining banse ba develop ba tlisa di player. What is stopping them from doing it here? Kauban, I'm sure, man. Neki choka kiri di weight tsakamo 3 kilograms zakamo. ya tshwana le ya ka Europe. Why bona ba chima better than us? King re tshwarelang.
Sheba Brauti, taba wait yona ha ke nagane gore tshwanetse re dire as exclusive Brauti because of how le bella bo Spain I see the giant wa bona se batho mara
No mara ke a tshonje gore if re batla ntwe di teng ntho tseo di tacticians di coach di what ba teng. Why re hlole?
But Brauti, but I think we can still do that. That's why I'm not saying we are that bad. I think we are still developing, but there are certain areas, se Brauti jaaka o bua gore go tshwanetse re batle di technicians, re batle bo ma. There are areas se le gore tshwanetse re fixe mo teng because of how ka lebella football wa rona Brauti. We can even if re lebella Champions League, re tshwana go bapala football sentle, but more short thing is how to defend. You can say, oh, hey, we are playing beautiful good football. You can't play beautiful football without who create or who created the chance. Who ball position Brauti is not a beautiful football. That's why I think we are still developing. But you want to jump the stage or we compare the team like Nigeria, but we compare the team like Egypt. But I think we are still learning Brauti. But I think if
Brati 30 years ka PSL ke 30 years le teng. We are still learning.
We are still serious. We are still learning, Brauti. Le 100 years, Brauti. Where is the Champions League guy? The trophy guy? Mavani re-expose ki Cameroon. And bafana bala ka lebella ba tswang go Cameroon bale. Ha ka lebella ba buntsinyana ba bone ba dlala kae? Ba dlala go Europe and they are still young. Hore somehow re tlhoka like that experience ile ya ka go Europe ka kwale gore re tle go yeda le PSL Brauti, not to say, but I think we are hyping too much. Even le PSL Brauti re tlo kopana le di team mo South Africa fa bo majezi ba dlala ba dlala ntwe o sa tlhaloganyeng bo Pirates ba winner waya ba betsa bo majezi ba shapang ba good Brauti until ra go tshameka go di bigger stage bo AFCON ke gone mo re bonang gore country ya rona go bua nnete we are still lacking there and le defending tsa rona how we defend Brauti we need to invest in defending tsa rona.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Please don't forget to tap the screen. I'm looking for 30,000 likes, guys. Just tap the screen. It helps out. Agent, my brother, welcome.
Jihad.
Are we jihading? Guys, please mute when you come in.
Mr. Oti, our teams is the best in Africa.
Our
team. Give me Sundowns is feared across all Africa.
Teams play the low block versus Sundowns.
They play low block against us, you know. Mr. Oti, we beat Ahly 5-2. They made a team that can beat Ahly 5-2. You know.
Who won the Champions League that year?
Doesn't matter, Mr. Oti. We beat them 5-2. They made a team that can beat Ahly 5-2. Pirates went to a full house in Alger and they beat
CRB.
MC Alger last year. You know, with young stars, Pirates went to semis. You know, with young stars. You know, if you check Mr. Oti in the top 10 of players to watch for this AFCON, we have Umkota and we have Talon Smith.
Yeah.
2 players. Name any country that can do that. You know?
Cameroon.
No, I'm just saying, you guys are just being unfair, you know? And also, sometimes you're being unfair in these conversations of CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
Know? How did Paris lose CAF Champions League?
Does it matter?
Yes, because we are robbed. If you're not robbed, they could have won it.
And the other years?
We beat Egypt. Did you see what Lush was doing? No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Fair. Name. Okay, fine. Let me be fair. Name any better defender who plays on African football than Ombo guys. I'll wait. Or
Yeah.
Mofokeng. I'll
Yeah.
wait. We have the best talent. Do you remember Dr. Kumar, what he was doing to those guys? Eh?
In that highlight of Brazil.
Huh? Mr. OT, take us serious, man. We're one of the best, if not the best. Name any better right back than Motaung.
But where are the trophies? Where are the trophies?
No, Mr. OT, you can't judge success by trophies. And sometimes you must also put into context that we are only 30 years into our democracy, and my time is like going out, and we have raw talent for that matter. We may not have the best development. Take, for example, Mfundo Vilakazi. He was one of the best tournaments in under 20 tournament, AFCON. But where was he developed? He was not developed anywhere.
How many games has he played locally?
He was one of the best. Look at my band. He was one of the best. Then he was even hugged by a Nigerian coach telling him, Ostantuan. So you have to take it serious, Mr. OT.
Let me not laugh. No, I'm taking you serious. I'm hearing your case.
Yes. So what? And again, you have to factor into context that with trophy, sometimes you're unlucky. Uvala scores an own goal at Loftus. If he doesn't score it, we go on and win CAF Champions League. That could have been two more. You add the Pirates one, is two, we have four, but we have two. So sometimes it's just a case of being unfair.
How many does Ahly have in that time?
How many did they rob Ahly? How many did they win via back door?
How many do we then have?
And when did Ahly start playing CAF Champions League? And where were they formed?
How many do we then have?
How many what?
How many do we then have? Trophies.
We did. I don't know.
Yes, Esperance.
Esperance might have one or two, but still doesn't matter also. Because we beat Esperance here, 1-0. Home and away.
So our football is top. Our football is top.
There's
nothing more to add.
There's no there's no league better than the PSL in Africa. There is no African team that plays African players that play in Africa, who are developed in Africa, that don't have development that is better than us.
What are you basing that on, agent?
No, look at all the teams who are playing in AFCON. Most of them are playing with foreigners. Besides Egypt, which we narrowly lost to 2-1.
Yeah.
Name any other team which is playing with locals.
No, I'm saying when you're looking at the best league, what is that based on? Do you watch Ghana?
No, I don't have to watch Ghana, but I can tell you that we have the most sponsors. We have the most viewership. Name any derby better than Soweto derby. 80,000 people all mixed together in Hamun. Can we have that against Esperance, Ahly versus Zamalek?
What about the Rabat derby? What about the Rabat derby?
Is it 80,000? Is it 80,000?
It's there.
Yeah, it can't be 80,000. It's the most watched derby, watched by millions, even in Europe. So we are the best, man. So thank you, Mr. OT.
Hey, agent chose violence today. Zwake, welcome to the show. How are you? Let me see if I can help him out. Guys, please don't forget to tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen.
Yebo, Mr. OT,
Khona, but Muzwake, tell me, ungenaphi kule ndaba? Is South African football overhyped? Are we that good?
I can say I'm in between, because the way I see things is like we are taking 10 steps forward and 20 steps backwards. Every time we find a good generation of players, something else happens. Then Yamoshe.
Yeah.
Sundowns, isikhathi saka Pitso no Rulani, they've built a good team with local players, then bafika lo walo amosha yonke into. Right now, instead of giving the young boys abaku Sundowns the chance so that for them to learn and grow, he's busy buying the Brazilians, the South Americans. Right now, his Pirates is happy with 53 million coming in to the country to boost the team so that they can even buy more, develop more players. But now they're taking another 60 million out of the country.
Yeah. But then, can I ask you, does Sundowns have an obligation to do good for the country?
No, they don't have an obligation to do good for the country. No, yes, I don't say it is obligated for them to do that. But look at the Egypt. Zamalek, 78% of the players are Egyptians. Ahly, the players that are playing for them, about 80% they are local players. Then when you take those players to the national team, you'll see good things.
Okay.
But now, our teams, the development, it seems like the development idea comes only for a commercial reason. Okay, we'll develop this player, sell the player, get the money, develop the player, sell. That is why even our media and journalists, they will even fight a team if they don't allow to, if they say, no, they offer that this for this player is not enough. They will even complain and say this team doesn't want to sell so and so. Hey, they are wasting, they are standing in the way of this player and this and this. But not knowing how much did the team spend to develop this player. Now, until we respect our development, there's nothing will happen with our South African football. We are playing good football.
So I want to ask you, why should I develop a player? Because Ngasithole Lumbogazi, in fact, Pirates for a couple of months, sell him for 53 million. Why must I go and develop and Bogazi or try? Nyamtata Njes Lalino, where he came from, Nyimfag straight. Then I sell him in a couple of months. Why must I spend 5 years developing a player?
Exactly. If we're gonna be taking that, let's say that mentality, our teams are gonna be thinking with that mentality, then let's just treat ourselves like it is so too. Whether singenile or singenanga is not a problem. Just be happy with we participated. Just be happy to participate, because another thing is last time when I was watching like the game a Pirates against this Limpopo Labo, even the officiating yama player yama games, they kill the development. They kill the players' morality. Once they use of gym so hard, then this is all what we're counting. Until
Mara Krochwani nagpela.
I can say, as far as I'm concerned, because the way the games I'm looking, I'm a game where South Africa, where I always see the officiating is not up to standard.
Okay.
Right now, when the game at Cameroon, bafana be Cameroon, linesman just in front of linesman, Apunta drop it down, say we foul. Don't even abangat tintwanga nokuthinto. Time wasted tactics.
For times, I would have to jump in. Guys, remember, everybody's going to get 5 minutes to just tell me what you're thinking. Try and make it 2 or 3 minutes so I can just ask you a question. Guys, please tap the screen. Sorry, for time. Let me bring in some other people who can jump in here for the next panel. The timer's over there. Thank you to the first panel. Guys, I want to ask you, the comments. What is the end goal here? What is because we're saying that we can't compare ourselves to Europe. But then if we believe that Europe is the top, shouldn't we be asking our football to get to that level? Or are we just making ourselves feel better by saying that, no, we want to compete, we're third in Africa. No, we want to compete, we've been to the Champions League 8 times in a row. Instead of actually saying, what does it look like for an African Football Association to go and become the top in the world? Is that possible? What do we do? Let me go to Vusmuzi. Vusmuzi, welcome to the show. How are you? Imnandi Vusmuzi naindaba man. Is South African football that good, or are we just overhyping it?
I think to answer a question, it's a yes and no kind of response. I would say yes and no.
Yeah.
For one, I would say we do play good football. But if people are late, more of entertaining than more direct and to win.
Yeah.
And which is I think your intengati itanda in a position where we can't really be in a position where to say we are actually good because there are no results, which is a winning mentality. Now, for instance, I'll give you an example. You look at that game here, Egypt. Egypt told red card in 44 minutes.
Yeah.
They are men down. When they come back, they're already folding. Basale move. Coach Wenzan. Coach does not use that opportunity to now pass the ball around from the 46 minutes, and we try to break them. And remove a defender, put an attacking midfield. Let's try to, at least by 60, we have scored and we've equalized. You understand? So the approach and how we go about the game itself, I've seen a lot of reluctance. And when you've got an advantage, you need to be using that, especially in a game, a tighty, and you're playing an opponent different than Egypt.
Yeah. So can I ask you, do you not give any credit to Laoma team that we're playing? Because it seems like every time South African teams get into that, oh, what a goal. If you see every time South African teams get into that area, the same thing happens. Do we not give credit to those teams that they realize that South Africa weak, Lana, let's just keep doing it, whether it's Bafana, Pirates, Sundowns?
Well, I will give them credit because one thing about them, they are well-rounded teams. Like Egypt, Mangaibu, it's a well-rounded team. They are able to suffer for the team. You understand? For instance, if you go to England, you look at team like Sundowns. A lot of players are good, but as a team, they are so good. And in South African football, we've got that issue. For instance, if you look at team players, like vilakazi. Vilakazi, he's not shining as much because he's still a developing player, but most importantly, he's a team player. He's a player with Marai one, he doesn't give you that much. But you're going to keep a pass that can actually restructure that whole defender, he break it down and we're able to penetrate them. But the player in Jalo, Hugo Bruce wouldn't see as important which you prefer a player like Urile, which mawubuka lapha the ungenile umfana cannot perform. Umfana is supposed to score there because he's being hyped ukuthi he's good. That's Paul Ulbeke Pansy and score. He can't do that. I mean, you go back to Aboshaba. Aboshaba was so good, by their standards. But I mean, I've seen Ushaba, I'm a Kaizer Chiefs fan. I've seen Ushaba struggling to trap the ball, which have very fundamental issues. You understand? Fundamental principles of playing Ebola. So the problem here too, I feel like we are good, but we don't build teams.
Do they have to go overseas to learn those things? Why aren't they learning those things now? I mean, Relay is 21, 22. The midfield, the Cameroon were 21 and was a 21 and 22-year-old. His age mates, Lapapambili was a 19-year-old. Why are we waiting for 25 for somebody to develop? What's wrong?
The problem here too, it's like when we develop our players, we must not only look at the talent, you understand, just to wrap up, we shouldn't only be looking at talent, but lifestyle yabo also. For instance, if you look at my team was say Europe, they don't train every day. Kuna la isiba khona eseklasini and say, this is how you trap the ball. I know that we start, but this is how you trap the ball. This is how you shoot the ball. Mangabe ufuna uye phezulu. And if you ufuna ukuyishayela phansi, this is how you do it. I think it's also important that we also educationalize it to say this is how you do these primary things that are so important ebholweni. You understand? The lifestyle. If you look at, for instance, Amachita Paya overseas, all of them, Abu Hakim, then turn number 20, they're married. And Bruce why question at this thing. To say, I look at the team in Tanewan throw wheel. And that these boys are 20, 25, 20, you know, they should be having life put together. And I think I think Ipola Letu is doing well, but there are so many things that are actually making Ipola Letu good grand, which is lifestyle and how it, because development, if we say development, that's just more than just kicking a ball. It speaks to lifestyle, it speaks to quite a lot of things.
Just for time, I'm going to jump in, guys. Is it 2? Okay, I thought it was going to be 2. Guys, just jump in for time. I want to ask the comments. I saw a comment from Emmanuel saying Rile is good, but teams don't want to pay. What are they paying for? What are they getting? Is he developed all the way, or is there still work that they have to do? And if you have a situation that a player's in that place, would you pay a top dollar to try get that player in when you know you still got a lot of work to do? Let me go to Vuselelo. Vuselelo, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
Minangi right, man. But tell me about this thing. Are we good or are we just overhyped?
I can say we are good, but they are behind those things that kills our soccer, our football in South Africa. Understand?
Yeah.
Firstly,
like what? Like what? Yeah.
Before Sizos figure squad in, you see lapha ku PSL dstv. Sihlale sikhala ngento eyodwa consistent. Last lokhu nje lelo iCAF lebesidlala last, Sundowns had a consistency, majority players were called, we performed very well. This time they overhyped Orlando Pirates by the signings. Ukuthi till today, if I can ask, which philosophy they are following? Badlala liphi ibhola? You understand? I see no combination kulokhu nje ku Pirate. Hugo Bruce usebenzise lokhu bekukhona, but ngamblamela ukuthini ushiye umuntu esibreaker ngayo, like Thembazwane is the key to this team.
Okay.
Thembazwane, if you can see nakule game Egypt, Thembazwane ebedingeka. Like Ombuli, yes, they are hyped. But who can play short passes better than Thembazwane? To break Egypt, it was not about playing the long balls because it was all about putting the ball to the grass. But who can do that better than Thembazwane? Thembazwane, they knew, even the Sundowns years now, no misidliwe, must fuck Thembazwane, something will come out.
But then you're telling me, 2019, I think when Bruce arrived, we complained about Zwane. 6 years later, we're telling me we can't find the replacement or players will dala better. Naman just solelu Thembazwane.
That's one thing in show ukuthi bulaleka lapha ku PSL. There's no one who's learning from that guy. Our agents are putting their player forwards because they are running for money. They are gunning for money. They are not focusing on what we can generate, what we can yini esingayithola siyibambe ihlale kithi. You understand? If we see ukuthi they are important players like Thembazwane, you can groom another Thembazwane. You can make Thembazwane to be the mentor of some other guys who are playing similar positions. Abazokhona ukuthi nakusasa. We are training even now. We're saying Motaung. You know ukuthi thina we once had Pitso Mosimane, who was the best left back. After Pitso Mosimane, who's next? Died. Motaung. No one is learning. We will always master one position, then after that, we are dead, we are going to another position. Instead of sikrume abantu to this thing, ukuthi ewe yambo umta udlala kanjani. Master this thing. Umta doesn't throw himself to the challenges. You understand? Like even now, Mbogazi is a good defender, but he was exposed most of the time because he don't know when to press, when to guide a striker. You understand?
But then loyal best, just for the last minute, I want to ask you, loyal best, the best that we have now, Tshwane, now Baba Mudau, they haven't won an AFCON, they haven't won a Champions League. Is that the past, Giga Corner?
This is the teamwork. Remember, this is the teamwork. You know, now I counted 2 positions that we are the best on. Even now, mokwena, one of the best again.
But he hasn't brought us anything.
Yes. If we can balance all the positions. But for now, we're not balancing any positions. And the painful part is now, I don't know what is the rule here, South Africa, according to local players, what the team must field how many local players. Like others. You know, like now you can tell with Spain is a cheese, but counting to Spain, there are maybe 7-8 Barcelona players there.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay, yeah.
You can say good Germany Shisa. If you can count, there are more than 6-7 Bayern Munich players.
Yeah.
There is
for
one
time.
team that excels.
Yeah. Time, I'm gonna have to jump in for time. Vuselelo, I'm gonna have to jump in for time. Let me bring in Richard. Richard, where do you sit on this situation? Welcome. Are we good? Are we overhyped? What is South African football right now?
Oh, young Bale.
XAOT, how's it?
It's Richard.
Sure. Actually, to be honest, I can say that we are good. We do have good players. So what is lacking in most part in our team, I think, is the confidence, and most especially this squad that went to AFCON this time. These boys psychologically, they were not okay. Actually, it was a mess. Because if you can check, it's quite impossible for a team that in most, like last AFCON, we finished, I think it was
number three,
and then now even qualifying for after, like, to be out from the group, it was difficult, always conceding. Like, you can see the way the guys are playing, the boys are not playing a very good football, but we do have good players. So actually, that's where we should check where is the problem it is. Because if you want to compare us with other teams like Egypt and then Senegal, Mali, they have their own identity. So what about us?
But can I just press you on that one? You know, we got beaten by a Cameroon team that didn't have a coach until 2 weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks before the tournament started. They didn't get together before 10 days before the tournament started. That was the first time they all met because they took out the experienced guys. They've been going through a lot with Eto and all of that stuff. They beat us. Why are our problems holding us back?
It's because they were playing according to their strength. You know, those guys, normally they don't play their football. Actually, it's all about, you know, using power, provoking the opponents. Unlike us, we know very well that, you know, in most, all I can say, all the team of South African parts, like Mozambique, Zimbabwe, or those teams normally, because we don't have that physique. Our strength is about sharing the sharing the ball, going to the 18 area, or all sort of stuff. But at the moment, that's not what we're doing. Previous AFCON, it seems like we're doing good because I think our coach used two things. It's a Western football and our football. You will be sharing a ball, but when it comes to the middle, then it's gonna play long balls. So now we are lacking, and you can see we cannot say that the Mufokeng is not a good player. We cannot say that Apolis, they are not good players. No. Why
are we saying they're good players? What have they done to make them good players?
They've done, like, most especially we can talk when it comes to their team, they've done a very good job. Look at the Pirates. Those guys that they're there, they do deserve there. But look, the way that they've been used at the Pirates is not the same way that they're being used at national team. For example, you can see Mbule, the way that he's been used is not the very same way that is being used. So
No, I'm asking. I'm asking because it's a Pirates team that didn't qualify for Champions League this year. Do we still say they're good players?
Yes, yeah, Pirates, yeah, good players. Remember, Pirates also, they have their own, little bit downfall after the departure of the coach, but they are good players. Let's be honest about that. They are good players. For example, let's go back when the way we played for World Cup qualification. Almost same players. Police, they were there. Those players, they did make a very good contribution. So now let's just ask ourselves, what went wrong? Because almost we can say that 70% or 65% of the players, same players. So what is the problem? The problem is identity. You cannot always ask, for example, Foster, like, the guy cannot chase the ball. He just plays, you share the ball, you just pass him in the space and then it just finish. Not the aeroplane, helicopter football will never assist us in anything. But truth be told, we do have good players. You can just check the way he plays it, like the Pirates, the way his finishing is very good. He was just unlucky. It can happen to anybody. You know what happened last match.
I'm gonna jump in for time. There's a conversation we're gonna have tomorrow. There's a conversation we're gonna have, but let me, just for time's sake, to respect the other guys. Mtakababa.
Mtakababa kunjani?
Ngimnandi mani, ngifuna ukwazi mani, lento sibukelayo imnandi yona or yithe siyenza ukuthi ibe mnandi.
Hayi, ngizohamba phezu kwamagama ka-agent, but me, on a serious note, hayi ngale voice bayayisebenzisa yena, because on that voice you could hear good hayi, just being sarcastic. You cannot be serious ngale voice akhuluma nto wazikhuluma. Akukhonakala. Yeah, akukhonakali bhuti. And sometimes siyakhuluma la sicacisa ukuthi ama-player kwenza kazi iplayer edlala kamnandi umshishizwane yeyi umbokazi was exposed kumbokazi besides that one dribble from eZimbabwe. Which match was he exposed? And sometimes kancane mase siyakhuluma la siyavela. We refuse ukuthi umfuke ngubest, but njalo masifuna ukunema iplayer la phesheya, there's no other player we mentioned. Umfuke Nkosi yami. Yini bantu benkosi? Yini?
Mara si honest, masikhuluma lezi zinto, si honest ngoba mina ngizwa ngathi siyenza so.
No, si honest, vela amaza phesheya ohlala hlula, because they don't believe ukuthi i-swimming pool i-fire pool. They don't. Ohlala sihlula. Uyangithola? They don't believe, they don't vote on it, they don't agree on that. They don't believe a gun being shot in a crowd and you can hear the sound, it's a toy gun. They don't believe that. That's why they will always be above us. They don't believe it's right for a president to put dollars on a couch. That's why they'll always be higher than us. They are accountable. They are accountable for what's happening in their own country.
So Tina Sika accountable, Tina.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You don't take yourself serious. So it will never happen. Young Tolaput.
Yeah.
It will never happen. But yeah, the sooner we take ourselves serious as a country and the structures on our own in terms of development, the parents being parents, and sometimes you even ask yourself, you hear people talking or explaining something, being politician or a leadership on this country. You even ask yourself, are these people running their household like this? Is this explanation like really? This one that we pass to their children? There's no way. There's no way. But then we cannot be that kind of society and expect ourselves to perform better or the same level with a straight up society who hold their leaders accountable, who hold each and every person in a position accountable, truthfully speaking, without being biased and fair. You get that point.
Yeah.
It starts there. But then again, on the other side, I mean, I do, as I said, like on the other comment, I do believe in Guti. Because if before I start to go and compare myself to Europe, you like Africa, and say, am I the best in when it comes to development and the price progressiveness in terms of like being an African here, even this competition. And don't good thing when the CAF competition, because that's not a true reflection.
Isn't it the best reflection?
No, you cannot. You cannot. Because now if you can count the CAF Champions League, now I have to come and ask you about the structures that we have, the when Ngizokubhalela vele into ejezibakazi ukuthi na when we reintegrated into international football stages in which year and how
Mara, after 30 years.
No, yes they do. They do
After
count.
30.
That's why most of our counterparts they abandoned that thing and relied on the foreign born players. They just naturalized them to play for their country. It will count. It to show.
Why does that count? Why does that count? Because I feel like it's a cop out. You can't say you've got the best development, but then most of the guys that have been developed have gone overseas, I guess, and they've left. So I could argue that early stage development. No, Senegal, I could argue these African countries.
No, they're not developed in Senegal.
No, I could argue that
they are not even born there. Most of them, they're not even born there.
In terms of exporting and those things, I could argue that Senegal, Cameroon, they have the best 13-year-old development everywhere because those guys tend to get taken. And they die in South Africa.
No, OT, they are not exporting. They're importing. They are not exporting. Those players are not born in Senegal. They are not born in Ivory Coast. They are not born in Cameroon. They are not born in DRC. Like now, as I was saying now, DRC was playing with 9 players born and bred in Israel, Bruce.
Yeah.
In Belgium.
Yeah.
They're not. They're importing. Tina, at least we still manage to develop our own players that they can go and compete. Bafana.
Are you exporting? Yes. Are you exporting? And are those players doing something on the world map?
I cannot export because I'm not a cheap labor. I cannot. I'm still got pride on what I'm doing.
No, export.
I want export. If I'm not being exposed in being a cheap labor. I cannot.
Okay.
If our league is developed in such a way that it can afford to pay its players so much money, because remember when OT, sometimes we overhyped this European country. I can tell you, South Africa is most of the countries that are paying more than South African salaries in Europe. They are not even more than that. Maybe I can say 10.
No, our
players for them not to go and play in European countries. Some of other teams, due to economic pressure that it happened, the financial thing that happened in Europe, some of the teams they cannot afford our players. Our players are well paid. They cannot just
But now you've made it a commercial argument now. You are paying them well, you're doing all of that stuff.
Yes.
Mara, must figure to the world. They're not performing as good as they are, as non-cheap labor they are. They have not performed.
No.
So are you still good?
I'm not picking on that, but I'm saying to you, man, if we have to be fair to ourselves and compare ourselves, we cannot just start with Europe. We start with Africans and said, how are we doing with our own here inside Europe?
Maranami, if itamalamling share 10 million, I'm going to go compare myself now just as Lalini because I've got money in my pocket. That's unfair.
No, you are going to lower than you. You are going to
That's what we're doing. No, we're gonna compare ourselves to Nigeria.
No, we have to compare ourselves. We're an African continent. Now,
yeah, now I'm a citizen.
Why are we praising them and said, but they are doing so wonders at such a way?
Because they are shy. They are shy.
But them as a country, they didn't develop those players, which means they didn't do anything. There's no development in Nigeria.
That's fine. Maraba is shy.
Those players were developed in England. They were playing for under 20 in England. They were playing for under 21 in England. They were playing for a team in Germany. They were not developed in Nigeria. At sometimes we cannot be so hard on ourselves.
But that's what I'm saying.
We are just failing
But you,
dismally.
but you are making yourself feel better by comparing yourself
No, I'm not
to
making
leagues.
myself feel better.
Yeah, well,
I'm
to
not.
leagues that don't have money, don't have development. You are making yourself feel better. So in the argument,
I'm saying,
you start in
no.
Africa because you'll always look better in Africa.
No, the conversation comes from the ways that we are criticizing ourselves that the Nigerian, the Cameroon, they are beating us, they are better in terms of the field of play.
Shy. Yeah.
No, but they're not developed in Nigeria. Then we cannot take them as a country and say they were developed there.
So
We
your
cannot.
good develop. So can I argue your good development can't beat that? Then forget about that. Your good development, your great commercials, your pays, all of that stuff, it can't beat that. So however it's
No.
done, we are not good enough to go and beat that.
No, we will beat them. We are still in a progress, but to us, I'm happy now with the progress that we've made because we
I
don't
believe.
there's no wait because South Africa as a country we haven't relied on European to develop our players. We are developing them here on our own.
And what's the bar? They're not giving us anything. How many developments have we gone through the years? Have they given us the trophies? Have they given us success?
No, it's just that we are being selective. Normally, when we count development, we'll only base it based on the team that we see, Chiefs, Pirates, and Sundowns, but we don't count other teams and other players that we see.
Marabas nigezanga next as a nation.
No. It sometimes we have to see it as a better vote. Okay, now are you selecting the right coaches to coach them? Are they implementing the philosophy that will work for our players that will? Because now, for example, now you go to a tournament, we know our strength, but we start with a defensive on a defensive mode. We don't just take those teams on that we are playing on.
Is that our strength? What has our strength given us?
Those are tactical disadvantage that were implied on a particular day. But on a long term and in our players and development, no, we are there. And I mean, we are there. So long as you start down to siwashayela amathobane eje kuqinisela athi siwashayela nabo Ahly sibashayile vele.
Didn't Ahly win the trophy that season?
Last AFCON we took bronze with a 98% South African PSL.
What does that help? What does that help? It doesn't mean anything.
It helps in terms of development in a long term. There's no quick fix. Even those countries that we can count them, not to say they've won 5 cups or 10 cups in a row. No, it was a development. But they're taking a shortcut now because their players are developed in Europe. They just take players that were not born in their countries. They take a shortcut.
Ushai Ahly 5-2. Ahly goes and wins that tournament after. How must I go home with the 5-2?
But we know, you and I have been here. We know they've won that tournament, not in most cases on a footballing reason. We know how they play.
They've won it, but they've won it with those tactics. Why must they play like us?
No, but not technically. In most cases, not football. The cheating that they normally do there with referees and the diving, that football that they play, they call that development. Most of the North African, the football that they play, even now we've seen, is that football. In most cases, no. In a tournament, you play to win it, and you use every trick to win it. But that doesn't mean that that's a development.
So when the guys come out and they say Abongile Tom, is that good or bad?
What?
We know the arguments that people make about Abongile Tom and a certain team.
No, they only make it when it affected them. I always say, look, Jabla Shinchana, if they benefit.
No, Marangiti, then none in benefit. You can't complain about somebody else if none in benefit.
That's why I'm saying, look, Jabla Shinchana.
Okay, no, for time.
People will come out when it was disadvantage to them.
Now we are Zanjalo Konamanja. That's what you're doing in your argument.
OT must be proud of our country. We are going on the right direction. Let us develop our own. Let us not take the shortcut whereby they're going to import players.
Why is it a shortcut? Okay.
No, they're importing.
But why is it a shortcut? Is it wrong? Whoa, is it wrong?
No.
Is it illegal? Whoa, is it wrong? Is it illegal?
Wait. Then I guess congratulate and say they've got the best team.
No, you have to congratulate them. They figured it out. We don't have money to develop, so then we will found a way to go win. We can't fight you guys.
Why are you so hard on us?
No, because
Wait.
I found a way. I don't have your money. I don't have your infrastructure. I don't have any of that. I found a way.
You congratulate people who don't develop their own players, don't have development.
Because they can't afford it. You just said it, Maraveli. They can't afford it, so they found a way to go win. Why should I hold it against them if they find a way? When with all of the things you have, they found a way to go do it. You have to give them credit.
No, credit for what if they didn't develop any player.
They found a way.
But they didn't develop them.
I can't take your girl. I can't take your girl because you've got money. I become really funny, and then I take her. Then you say no, money.
No, I'm saying to you, they didn't develop those players. They cannot get credit if they didn't develop all those players.
What does that matter, Velile? You didn't develop Mbogazi?
No.
You didn't develop Rile. Rile does well at Pirates. Do we say he's not a Paris player?
It does matter because we are being so hard on ourselves, and then we are putting ourselves so down in such a way that we put them on the upper pedestal that they are so good in terms of development their players while they've not done that.
No, but you're also raising yourself without putting the burden on yourself to go win, and you're breaking them down.
I'm raising my. Yeah.
I don't care how they did it, because they looked at the situation and said, we can't have the money that South Africa has. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have those things. We need to figure out a way. And if it means importing those guys and teaching them how to go and win, we've done the work. So now you can't say to me, I have not done anything. I can't compete with you.
Then I'm not arguing with that. Then in that way, I cannot congratulate you, and then say you have worked so hard for your money.
I can, because we've seen other people that got little money and they spent it differently.
I can praise you to Unemali, but I cannot say you are the one who raised that income. We are in a
but if I take it from 10 million to 100 million, if I take it from we've got no development to winning AFCON, then it's a very big thing I've done.
But Bona, they haven't done that. They're still doing the same thing. If you said wait. If you said they've done that, then by those players, they should have plowed back into the development into their own country, because there are still players in DRC.
Why do they have to do that? Why are you putting those rules there? You're putting rules. Why do the rules matter? Why must it matter that I'm winning with overseas players?
Okay, then in that way, I cannot be so hard in myself and say I'm not doing so much in development while you are not even developing.
No, I'm saying to you, and I think for time, this is what I'm saying to you. We've both got a place to go. We've got a trophy to win. You've chosen to do development. You've got all of the ability, the luck, the whatever, to be able to develop in your own country. I don't have that. So let's say I'm starting from a place that's a little bit below you, because you can already do that in-house. But what I'm saying is both of us need to go to that goal. If I take what I have and I consistently go towards that goal, I've done well. Similar to if you took your development and did well and consistently went to that goal, I would say you did very well with what you had. But now what we tend to do as South Africans is we go, no, Senegal is importing players. Let's say Senegal doesn't have the money that your league has. So if I look at it objectively, you have an advantage. But now you're trying to hold back Senegal, who has taken whatever they've had and taken it all the way to the top, while you, with the resources you have and all of that stuff, you haven't been able to take it to the top as much. So then now I can't say Senegal was cheating because they didn't do it my way. I just have to look at us and say, guys, both of us are going for the same goal. Where Nanje, your job then is to develop to such a point that your thing wins. But if my thing wins over and over and over again versus you, then I look at you and I go, guys, you're not better than me.
Yeah. It's fine. But then do we have to credit you that you are good in terms of development? And
because I never said that. I said there's a goal.
Yes.
I said there's a goal.
Okay, so which means that in terms of development, okay, let's leave the code. In terms of development, what have you done?
No, you see, now you've changed it because you've got money to develop. You've got money to develop. So you don't need to get players from outside because you can do that. You get me? If they can, it's like Senegal coming. It's like Senegal coming and saying, in this argument, I'm going to say my metric for success is how many players are we bringing from overseas. If they came and said that, you'd say it's unfair because Tina's export. So that's why we're using the arguments to skew it towards us.
You and I, we have to agree to disagree on this one. What I'm saying is that if we have to tap ourselves in the back and say, in terms of development, these are the we can point at them.
What have they done? What have they done?
Wait. These are the structures that we've put in place. These are the players that we, as South Africa, as a country, that we have produced. And whether we
but what have those players done, Velile? What have they done?
Wait. But remember, in terms of that, football-wise, they've done so well for themselves.
How?
As compared to some of the players that are based in those countries, not the players.
You're cutting corners. You're cutting corners to make your argument.
No. In terms of argument, yes, but in terms of development, I'm not cutting corners. They are the ones who are cutting corners. Tina, we are doing it properly. That's why I'm saying, we must not.
There's no properly, Velile. It's not proper. There's no properly.
We must not be so hard on ourselves in such a way, good Tina. We can put ourselves down that there's nothing that we are doing. We are not going anywhere. We're not developing anything. As compared to them.
That's not the argument, Velile. The argument is, have you sharpened your development to go and win? And I think what we do is that we soothe ourselves by saying we've done a small thing here and we've done a small thing here and we've done a small thing there, to get away from actually holding ourselves accountable and saying, okay, guys, if you're so great at that thing, what have you done with that thing when it goes up against other things? So is that thing I always say, Oguti, itikitaka is not a revered type of play because it looks beautiful or the players are technically gifted. It's revered because it went out and went to go win things. And I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm saying that you can't now, my argument is that you can't now say you are better than other people just because the things that you do well in your corner, you are holding on to them. Now the question has to be, okay, guys, what is the level that you can go to? Now the level must be, okay, we've done well here. What does the development mean when we go to a World Cup? Can we say, okay, in this AFCON, we're going to go win the AFCON without development, win the World Cup without development, win this and win that, to show that we are the best at this thing. Not to just say we are the best because we are really good. Me, I'm very good at certain things in my own house. But now I have to go outside if I'm going to say that I'm better than the neighbor. Me and the neighbor have to meet. And then if me and the neighbor meet and the neighbor keeps beating me, I can't keep saying I'm the best because that's what I'm saying. Neighbor, whatever he's doing in his house, when he comes to face me, he beats me. And my accountability has to be that as in guys, my noodles are great. They taste great. Mara, maspuma, I need to now take those noodles and faggy pork and faggy so I can go fight that side. But if I keep saying to myself, oh, I'm so good here, then I can't call somebody bad. I can't call somebody better, or I can't compare myself to somebody else. Rather, mina ngisthandela ipola yami, ngisthandela into yami, iright la. I don't need to go outside. I have no judgment of anybody else. If you get me,
because no, I do get you, but you and I will have to agree to disagree because now sometimes card because now when the debate can go like this, then it will have to include now all aspects on football in terms of
not even I already included.
No, it's fine, but no, you and I have to agree to disagree, Mtagaba.
Okay, no. Guys, sorry, that's a member. These are the chats we have in the member side. Apologies. Let me go to Ray. Ray, tell me what you think.
Yeah, Mr. Oti, oh man, Happy
Welcome.
New Year, Kosia.
Happy New Year, man.
Mr. Oti, how are you?
Ngimnandi mina, guys.
Mr. Oti, how was
compliments. Ntwana mina besenetshurana sisibrayela bekumnandi man, no pressure, no leaks, no nothing. Sisibrayela.
Yeah, yakubuza mina uDecember ngibhizi lapha eDurban. Hayi mara sengibuyile yabo. Yeah, let's go to football business. Hi, for excuse my my voice, Mr. Oti. Hey, ngiyagola, Mr. Oti. Lo coach wenu yangigulisa lo coach wenu.
Yeah,
Lo
man.
Hugo Bruce wenu lo wangigulisa lo coach wenu. Hey, sengiphethe enye flu my. But
Yeah.
Mr. Oti ne. Hayi, Mr. Oti. Ay, our PSL ne. Kahle kahle our South African football ne. It's been overhyped, Mr. Oti, man. Ay. We are overhyped. We are overhyped, Mr. Oti, because kahle kahle AFCON it has exposed us. Uthi
Yeah.
kahle kahle, there's something wrong with South African football, you know. Like I don't understand like Isafa man and Coach Hugo Bruce man, you know. Nami amfaka Coach Hugo Bruce like why they didn't sit down and say, okay guys, and Coach Hugo Bruce has once said this, Uthi, like South African says they need to start developing youngsters now, you know, because he saw this that some players are busy pushing at the age of 30, you know. Some of them are in their 30s, you know, because and it's becoming a problem. About Temazwane, they're in their 30s. So some ukulele Temazwane, like, you know, like Sakuli level. For sure, una 36, you know, if I'm not mistaken, you know. About Kuliso Mutau, they're in their 30s, you know. And Tabara, till now we are still praising one of the best right back in the world. About Mudus in his 30s, but we can't develop the next best right back who can take over from Kuliso Mutau. Why we are not doing that, Mr. Oti? Why we are not doing that? Why we are not thinking like we are thinking about the future? Look at AFCON under 20. Look at that team. Go back and look at that team, Mr. Oti. Look at how they played in the AFCON. You know, look at how they played. They beat Morocco. The strong Morocco side that won the FIFA World Cup under 20. Why Coach Hugo Bruce didn't take some of those players that AFCON? Why he didn't build that team? Why didn't he take some of them, like 6 or 7 players to the AFCON and say, okay, I'm building for next year, it's AFCON 2027.
Yeah.
You know, like Mr. Oti, no man, Mr. Oti, like we need to be honest about our football. And also like other players, when you look at them, others started playing their professional football at age of 25 or 26. You know, that is not acceptable, Mr. Oti. You know, because you could tell Uti, when you pay attention to EPSL, others are not proper and developed. You know, man, Mr. Oti, you know, because we are busy praising for a player that is doing a first touch now. Okay, show me your number. Mr. Oti, let's be honest, man. Our football is, for me, our football is capped, Mr. Oti. It's not going anywhere, Mr. Oti. It's
Mara,
not going anywhere.
can I ask you a question? If you're Hugo Bruce and you've got players that did well maybe last year and maybe some players that you've trusted over the couple of years, is it wrong for him to just go, you know what, my contract is done next year, I'm done with the World Cup, let me just stick to what I've been doing, maybe try to well in an AFCON, take the guys I trust to the World Cup, and then I can bow out. Whoever's taking over from me, uta develop, that'll be his worry. Is it wrong for him to do that?
No, it's totally wrong, Mr. Oti. It's totally wrong, Mr. Oti. You know, I'm not happy what Coach Hugo Bruce did, Mr. Oti. You know, Coach Hugo Bruce, like the players that he selected, you know, those players, they need to have they had to have that mindset. Uti, we are going to AFCON to win. We are going to win that tournament, Mr. Oti. You know, these players and their staff team, they need to have that mentality. We are going there to AFCON to win it. You know, I'm not happy what he did, Mr. Oti, you know, because Coach Hugo Bruce umfailile, Mr. Oti. Umfailile big time, Mr. Oti. You know, like even Safa needs to like sit down. Like, Safa Nkosi yami, yo Nkosi yami, labantu Nkosi yami, yes, sir. Hi, man. Those people, like, they need to sit down, Mr. Oti, say, okay, let's think about the future, man. Let's think about, okay, how can we make this national team more stronger? How can we make it to compete with the best of the best? How can we make it to go pan to pan with Algeria, with Nigeria, or Cameroon, with Ghana? You know, they need to think about that, Mr. Oti. We can't just go overhyped. Like we'll see, we are going to CAF Champions League. Like with the Orlando Pirates, Kaizer Chiefs, Sundowns. No, people need to like the whole South African community football. They need to sit down together and say like, guys, we need to produce these players and develop them properly so that we can prepare them, their mindset for the national team, so that we can go pan to pan with the big guns. We can't just say we are playing beautiful football, Mr. Oti. For me, that's unacceptable. But we are losing to Cameroon by 2-1. We are playing that football, group stage. We are busy conceding 4 goals. That's totally unacceptable, Mr. Oti.
I want to play devil's advocate. Why would I want to go and do that and spend the money and put in the effort when this South African team that I got to Hugo Bruce, we did exactly maybe what we've been doing before he came in, maybe with a different thing. We're lucky Rulani was doing something that side, Jose was doing something that side, that it came together. Why should I, try and go look for stuff? I know every now and then Umbogazi will come out of nowhere. Why should I? And do you think that the goal of SAFA is to go and compete in the world? Is to go and compete at AFCON? Or is it just in case you're going to see Chaisile and hey, look, they got their bonuses, money came in, they went home?
No, Mr. Oti, I understand what you're saying, but, it's SAFA, it's SAFA, they need to, they need to talk with they need to sit down with the PSL, staff members, they need to sit down and say, guys, national team is a big thing. It's really a big thing. International, we need to prepare these boys for a national team. They need to do that. This SAFA, Mr. Oti, SAFA, they need to not to chase money. Okay, as long as the money is coming in, hey, we are happy that we are getting millions. And it's Tatama 56 million yana. We are overspending it. No, that's. For me, they must not have that mindset, Mr. Oti. Come on, Mr. Oti. Mr. Oti. You need to have that mindset to win trophies. Let's get Numa CAF. We need to win trophies. Yeah, but any team in the PSL, CAF, they need to win trophies. They need to win CAF Champions League or the CAF Confederations Cup. Look at the Sundowns, Mr. Oti. When was the last time they won the CAF Champions League? Even though Bangene from the back door, but still, yeah. And even the Orlando Pirates, 1996, 1995, someone that, and we are still talking about that. Why we can't have EPSL team, some of them to win it? We need to think ahead, Mr. Oti. We need to think ahead. We need to start bulldozing. We need to show the whole world, Oti. This is how South Africa football is. It's all about winning. It's all about playing about to win. Look at them; they're busy preparing their players, to shine, to go to overseas, to play La Liga, to play English Premier League. We need to have that mindset, Mr. Oti. I don't know if you are getting me, Mr. Oti. Yeah, but we need to have that mindset. It's about time. We need to change our mindset. Football. We need to stop thinking about beautiful football style of play. We need to win trophies.
Yeah.
Big trophies.
For time, I'm going to jump in. Guys, I think I'm just going to change it a little bit then. So what I'll do from now on is it's going to be quick fire. Everybody will be able to come in and just tell me what they think, and we'll just keep it rolling for as long as we can keep it rolling. So please don't forget to comment, to like, to follow, and to subscribe. Before I do that, guys, this is what I'm trying to say. You can be very good at the thing that you're doing. You can be very good naturally. But part of what grows you is the competition and then holding yourself accountable to things that you need to go and do. My worry about our conversation is that it moves from us being really good and believing that we're really good to saying that we're better than other people. So it's again a conversation that I had with Unkululego, where I was saying that Angali, your football is beautiful, you control the ball, you do all of those things. But if every time you go and face somebody, that person is going away with the trophy, that means that whatever they are doing on their side, whatever they're doing, they have worked on it enough to be able to stand against you. So if you are really good at maths, really good naturally at maths, and somebody who's not good at maths comes and consistently beats you at that thing, they work hard, they figure out a system, they figure out a way, and they consistently beat you at that thing, you cannot keep saying that you are better than that person. Because not only is that unfair to the work that that person has done, but then it stops you from wanting to get better because you sit in the comfort of your complacency. It's okay. It's okay to have a flash performance in a tournament, then the following year you can't qualify. It's okay. Born at some point. And then when you add up all the some points that have come before that, you start seeing that there's a pattern here. Oh, Bafana lost because of this. Pirates lost because of that. Sundowns lost because of that. No, these guys cheated and did that. No, these guys did this. Now I've got 10, 15, 20, 30 years of every year there's been an excuse. But the truth is that every year you have lost out. Every year. And you've convinced yourself that you are better than other guys who have maybe shown consistency. We can't ask everybody to come meet us where we are. Spain can't go to Germany and not play Spanish football because we're playing German. They have to come with their football. And they've sharpened it to the point where they're beating those guys. But we don't want the accountability of the result, of the win. That's my problem here. That's why our players, our teams, is complacent. Kaizer Chiefs can live off of the wins of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And every time, no, guys, this looks better. No, we look better. Back and forth. And sometimes love, guys, and support is saying, oh, dog, you can't keep doing this. Oh, dog, you can't keep, hey, emapili. Or, you know what, let's add this. Or let's make this better like this. Or let's study a little bit more. When we get to the test, maybe you can do a little bit better. And if we're not going to do that, you can't go and you know, just tell somebody else that they suck. Or tell somebody else that they're not working hard enough. Or tell somebody else they're not doing better or whatever. You can't do that. But anyway, Melo, welcome to the show. How are you? Melo?
Mr. OT.
How are you, my brother?
Mr. OT. I'm good, Mr. OT.
Where do you sit on this conversation?
This conversation, Mr. OT, now I will tell you, as you have said, we need VAR, Mr. OT. You know, the system of play, Bafana, you cannot say you don't want VAR go PSL, but you want to compete, go AFCON and to the World Cup. When players, international players that we are playing with, they have played using VAR. Well, I understand. Because you look at the World Cup qualifications, there was no VAR. That's why Bafana was confident on the ball. But when it came to AFCON, because now they are using VAR, they were not confident. And we were making stupid mistakes during in the PSL. Those mistakes will be considered as a soft foul, and game will be carried on by the referee. But when it came to AFCON, because it's a computerized system called the VAR, touch, it's a foul. I never worry, as you have said, you never worry, you're gonna be good at maths, but you still ubanaka munwana. While other people, but they are using scientific calculators. It's not gonna work. So other players from other countries, they are playing abroad, which they use VAR system, and they know how to use that system, and they know how to cheat the VAR. You look at Egypt, the same foul. Mudau considered the same foul against Salah. You look at Ngezana, it's the same foul. And when you come to the PSL, that foul was a soft foul. Neklova had play on, you know, and then we keep on defending and saying, no, we don't need the VAR, but you want to win AFCON, you want to do well in the World Cup. We cannot able to radiate into we are still complaining about things that will help us, and then we want to better ourselves without those things. You never when I tell you are using
Yo, guys, please mute, please mute.
You cannot say Onache Mr. OT. We are using cars, and still when you are use a horse to go from here to Cape Town. The efficiency of antenna to travel, it won't be good on your side, and you are still and people, you know, when I meet people from Cameroon, from Nigeria, they'll be telling us South Africa is playing good football, but you are still making stupid mistakes. And the system calling, we are not allowing the VAR system, or we cannot make those stupid fouls. We can able to, you know, structure our defense properly, because with the VAR system, we will know how to structure the defense properly. We will know how to structure ourselves when it comes to attack. We won't make offsides, you know, offsides plays. Well, when we are playing as Bafana, we'll always have when we are trying to score and we are trying to attack, the ball will always going to be offside. When it comes to defense, we'll always make mistakes on the defense. We need the VAR system, and I hope, as South Africans, we allow the VAR system to come to the fold.
I want to ask you.
To compete.
I want to ask you. Do you think that VAR for South Africa right now is a need? So, and I mean it in terms of not necessarily for what you spoke about now, but do you think that the league bosses, SAFA, the teams, do you think that they care about VAR? Do you think that VAR makes anything significantly different for them? Or do you think they're just happy with what's happening? People still watch the PSL, money still comes in. You know, is it a need for SA?
Yeah, it is a need. Because as I said, it is a need because we want to compete to the world.
Do they? Does your team want to compete in the world?
They do want to compete to the world. But when you're competing to the world and you're using systems that are not consistent to the international football, check out VAR, we will lose. Is what I was saying. You cannot be saying we are using abacus. You are still using abacus to calculate, while other people from other worlds are using calculators. It's not gonna be efficient on your side.
But let me ask it like this: does VAR significantly change Dr. Khoza's business?
I would say it will change because it will attract more teams to come and look at South Africa, right? Because the style of play will change, will be more strategical and technical when it comes to the style of football that you are playing. So teams, overseas teams, check out go Europe, in America, they will come and try to get players from the league. So it's gonna benefit Irvin Khoza, but the problem is not Irvin Khoza here. The problem is us as fans. We don't want the VAR system because you know with the VAR system, I won't be given the penalties, the fouls that I will be committing. probably I will give the other players a chance, another team a chance. You know, the teams
Okay.
doing they are benefiting on Europa. Do you understand me?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Okay. No, but time,
Allegedly. And the problem is with the fans, Arriba, I think too, but for international
yeah.
football, we need it.
For time, I'm
You know,
gonna jump
because we are
in.
going to the World Cup. We are going to the World Cup and we need it. We need a VRS system.
For time, I'm gonna jump in. Let me go to Loop Lobster. Loop, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, OT, how's it?
I'm good, my brother. Tell me, what do you think about this conversation?
I think for me, I think I'm gonna move away from Bafana because I think Bafana is a result of South African football being in order. So I'm gonna speak to more South African football and less about Bafana, what happened in the AFCON. I'd like to the gents, but it happens. But I think with South African football, we are more. How can I look at how a Junior Khanye came about, a Tabomo came about, and unfortunately, we still have that with Abu Vilakazi. I mean, you see pictures of Vilakazi 4 or 5 years ago where he was playing and where he's playing now. And it's a concern because that development that the conversation was around is what's missing in that Nadala Putkung, and then quickly after that, he's now at an international stage where he has to perform for Chiefs, for Amachita. And because he doesn't have the skills necessarily, the development that he needs, he's a little bit behind. And I'm not saying that the talent is there. So he has the pure talent to be one of the great players in South Africa. But the talent is not the talent is not nurtured. It's the conversation. He has the nature of football, but he also needs the nature element of football. And you look at guys like your Yamal. I mean, I think a few days ago I saw a picture of Yamal being held by Ramos on an El Clasico, walking out of New Camp. And it's those moments that I think once we have more and more of those moments will change our football, in that a youngster, we can discover them at 13, 16, but they still are within the football structures until they hit 21, 20. Because what that gives them is that they've given them enough practice, enough opportunities to know what they do. I mean, you think about a Messi moment and when Messi goes across the box and shoots. If you think about how many times Messi has done that when he was growing up, that's why he was able to perfect so much. But the question for me then becomes, how many of our guys have those repeated moments in the football field? They are able to know what it is to be on a final and it's the 90th minute. They're able to know what it is to lose within the first 5 minutes. It's those moments that I think if they're repeated constantly in the guys' upbringing and development, they're able to help them and be able to help us be better. Because I think at the end of the day, sure.
Yeah. No. End of the day,
I think at the end of the day, for Bafana to compete if consistently, because I think we compete, but we don't challenge consistently. We have 1 year where we are there, the other year we are not. For us to be able to compete consistently, we need that consistent development. Where like we now having conversation about Themba Zwane. Themba Zwane is phasing out, but that's when, if the development was right for a relay, for a Mfundo, for a Mduduzi, for Mfano wa Sundowns, I forget his name. If those guys have been developed properly, they're able to have learned from Zwane. They're able to have learned from a Tito, and they're able to carry on and take some of the roles that these guys have played, that they've given us a third place in the previous AFCON. Then they're able to come up and they maybe give us, even if it's another third place, but it shows consistently that we're able to produce and also still perform at the right level, because we can't be competing, like you're saying, locally, and we are saying we are good. And it's the conversation. I think England also had a similar challenge with them, is that they would compete among themselves and they would think they have the best league, and then they go to World Cup. I mean, you think about 2006, I was a bit younger, but 2006, 2010 was even much more of a disaster. But they thought they had the best team in the world. They had players that had talent and they had a different development structure. But because they were not exposed enough to some of these repeated moments at an international level, then they were not able to succeed. So I think for us, we have the talent. I'm sure you'll find a guy like this guy is so great. but they need to be put in the development structures quickly.
Do we
Yeah.
we value those things? Because and I'm not, I don't want us to speak from an aspirational point of view where these are things that we like.
Yeah.
Does South African football right now value those things? Because these are hundreds of these teams, these people, they're hundreds of millions of rands, billions of rands, right? And they can't teach people to trap, or they can't teach people to have a certain approach or repeated actions. Do you think that our South Africans, teams, fans, people, football consumers in South Africa, do we value those type of things?
No. And here's my reason for saying no, is that we play entertaining football, and a relay will give you entertaining football. So let's have example, and Ivan, for example, a coach go parrot this guy's gonna be the talent. Umisa go training 2-3 days, the senior coach sees this guy can play very well, play entertaining football. He takes him. If you put him on the bench too many times, even people in the management, the question will be, why are you putting this guy on the bench when he's playing? I am able to bring in a certain number of people into the field. And it then gets to where Mbogazi is, where after a year or so, you're like, I can make money out of this guy. You're having Adidas deals coming through. And that's the entertainment that comes with it also, is that there's money in these guys that are raw and they have this skill that we love as South Africans. But in the long run, it's giving value to the clubs. And unfortunately, because they're the ones that put in the money in these guys for them to be at that club. But it brings money for the clubs. They value the raw talent and the kasi football, which there's nothing better about it. But for the national team's sake, it's not working because it's no longer like that. Now it's more about systems. Football is about systems. It's once they quickly see that relay is your man, I'm telling you, 15 minutes, 2 people are on relay every single time there's a ball. So you can't really rely on those Ronaldinho moments that worked many years ago. But now football has become a systematic thing that you just need guys that have the technical skills of football and give them the right coach. And I think you have a better chance of succeeding than having 5 guys that are very talented, but they don't have a system and tactics around them to get them to succeed, because guys will catch them out quickly. But that's what. Yeah.
No, I was going to say for time, I'm going to have to just jump in there. Let me bring in Panswelanga as soon as possible. Habibi.
You see, you're crying, Habibi. The tears coming down everyone's face today, Habibi. Okay,
Where do you sit on this conversation, Habibi?
Mr. Oti, I don't like these conversations because sometimes I feel like they're very top layered. Like the conversation is had at the top at the end of the problem. You know, so for instance, you're gonna go say, Mbule's not the 10 we need, relay chokes, but that's the end of the problem. That's not where the problem starts, Mr. Oti. You know, for me, AFCON didn't necessarily expose that how bad our players are or that we chokers, or for me, this AFCON exposed the system, you know, in its entirety, right? And we always have a conversation where we say, ukchaisa is going to catch up to you if you don't have a plan, you know. And for me, what this AFCON has shown me is that South African football as the ecosystem doesn't have a plan for what it wants to do and how it's going to go about getting those objectives and goals that it has set. So it's all nice to say Vision 2020, Vision Mang, Vision hey, but the implementation and the intention behind those visions are never really seen. You know, it's almost like we write these things. It's like when you guys are protesting as a country and then Tabumbeki comes and says, I am an African. It's like, okay, cool, that's beautiful, dog. But what about these problems that we have to address, you know? So we see situations where when Hugo Bros wants to have a meeting with PSL coaches in order to have conversations on, what are we doing? How are we integrating our players from club level to national level? They say he's arrogant. You know, when he wants to have these conversations around how do we ensure that the crop of players that I currently have now are the same crop of players that I am going to take with me to the World Cup, or possibly have a crop of players that I'm only going to shift a few things around. how we going to go about doing that? This is my idea. Let's have a conversation, guys. They say, who does he think he is? He wants to come to this country and change our football. He wants to, so I think that because the fans also don't know the plan, when Hugo wants these things, they're like, what's going on? They panic because there's no ideology that's been communicated from the structures to the people that participate as fans, and with this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to go about it. So when things happen, they look like they just happen randomly and no one knows what's going on, and then everyone points fingers around when things go bad, because I think that the only thing that is missing is that planning, Mr. Otsi. I think once we have planning where we understand what are our strengths and how do we best utilize these strengths within the arena that we're participating in, and also what are our weaknesses and how do we minimize exposure on these weaknesses that we have. You need to have a plan. You need to know what you're doing and what you want to do and how you're going to go about doing these things. Taking players who have not accumulated national team experience to AFCON is an indication of a problem. It's an taking Mbule, who hasn't played. How many CAF games has Mbule played? Where would he have gained this experience in order to anticipate the level, the quality of the football that's waiting for him at AFCON? Where would he have gained this experience? So taking Mbule, taking Abu Rile, even though Rile was like part of the long-term plan, but taking all these people who don't have accumulated national team experience is an indication that there's something extremely wrong here. Okay. Because what went wrong to the team that had gained the national experience, because it's basically like the experience from the previous AFCON. So was the previous AFCON all a waste? Because you're supposed to take those experiences from the previous AFCON and build on them and improve on where you were lacking in the previous space, building up Mfokeng's brand to be the next savior of South African football, but no plan for his career is suicide for the boy. Building up Mbule as the next grade 10 with no plan for what are the roadmaps, what is the steps in the roadmaps for him to be that person is sabotaging these boys. Because we know in public scrutiny, South Africa would see Injan. So when you build up these boys in terms of their brand, because they go to big teams and their brand gets high profile. And then now there's this expectation on them, but you're just leaving these boys out to dry because you're not guiding them in their career. There's no career development plan. There needs to be a career development plan for what we're doing with these boys because we have the talent, but talents with no direction. It's like music. All these talented artists, but they don't know the back end of this thing in order to sustain themselves. You need to understand the right brain part of the system and the left brain part of the system. The right brain part of the system is the natural talent, the creativity. And then the left brain part of the system is where you're planning around this creativity, where you're planning around this natural talent. What are we doing with this natural talent? And we're not doing that, Mr. Oti. I also have to ask myself.
Yeah. No. I wanted to ask you. Just to go back to you saying at the top level, I know we are speaking about wanting to go win an AFCON. We are speaking about wanting to develop the players. We are speaking about wanting to ask certain questions. We are speaking about, bringing people together and doing all the things we're saying. One of the things that you spoke about was Hugo Bruce right now. I don't think it should be Hugo Bruce's job to do that, for example, which then leads me to believe that the people around him don't care for the things we're speaking about, even wanting to go win an AFCON. Is that was that a goal for Bafana, a proper one, or is it just something we're speaking about?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's such a double-edged sword, right? Because on the other hand, you have to ask yourself, what is the incentive for that? Because ambition, first of all, is extremely expensive, man. Ambition is expensive. It's expensive. Expansion is expensive and it needs a lot of work. It needs people to be held accountable. So is there an incentive for the people who are in control of South African football to be ambitious? Because they're getting paid large sums of money either way, right? PSL is one of the highest paying leagues on the continent either way, despite if the quality of the league is going up or going down. Either way. People, I'm a KPI. I don't think that I'm a KPI. You get paid, you get your 13th check for showing up. So what is the incentive that will drive this ambition for us to have the plan? And until we can discover that, like, okay, this is the incentive behind this. Oh, when we don't perform, people get fired. Oh, when a player accumulates cards and then we get 3 points deducted from us, this is the punishment for that. Are people being held accountable? No, they're not. So then what is the incentive to show up? What is the incentive to show up as the best version of yourself from an organizational level? Because at the end of the day, abadlali yisebenzi. So it's a top down thing.
Isn't the incentive to win the AFCON? Isn't the incentive to win the Champions League, the CAF Confed? Isn't glory enough?
But let's look at a practical example. Mamelodi Sundowns had to shift and become a team with high ambition and great ambition. How much has that cost them, Mr. Oti?
A lot. Almost 2 billion.
How much has that cost them, Mr. Oti? And what are the rewards? So we also don't have real life examples in our backyard of people who put in a lot of money into something and then also gain a lot from it. We also don't have real life examples in order to say, oh, damn, we saw this plan work there. So we can actually implement the same thing here and hopefully it will work here. There's no real life examples that you can touch because you need real life examples that you can touch. When we think of Madrid, when we think of Man City, we think of the stars. Like, it's not here on earth with us. It's like a fantasy. It's like a movie. It's like a dream. So if you don't have real life examples down on earth with you, then it becomes very different.
That's very interesting. Do you think that maybe the structure of the football is also an issue that, if I'm an owner, I'm putting my own money into this thing. I don't want to do this. Why must I do this? Do you think that the structure of our football has to change in terms of ownership, in terms of running and all of those things? Will it change? What's the impetus for that to happen?
Sure. Can you have in South Africa, like with the economics of the type of if a developing third world country with the economics, can you have a sustainable football culture? Because if you look at a team like SuperSport, if you look at a team like Stellies now where it seems like Western Cape football is going, it's very scary. Very scary. Western Cape football is going. We should be afraid because we're losing another developmental house there. But either way, can we really say that South African football is sustainable from a business point of view? Because if it is sustainable, then the type of owners that the industry calls people who pay attention to things. You know what I'm saying? Like people who have vested interest in it, people who want to have outcomes at sea. If it's a legit business, the only people that it attracts are the people that are going to move that way, like legit, that understand that this is the way to play the game to win the game. And I mean like the economic game models, And in South African football, I don't know if we have an industry where we can say it attracts the type of people who nurture business. Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to communicate. Yeah, I don't know if it attracts the type of people who nurture businesses to grow and expand. Yeah, well.
For time, I'm going to jump in. Let me bring in Kutsiso. Kutsiso, welcome to the show. How are you?
OT.
Inside.
It's a new year, OT.
Same problems. Tell me, what do you see but from this conversation?
What I'm seeing here, it's two things, no?
Yeah.
One, our players are the content creators. That's the first thing. They went there for the holiday to shoot, to take some pictures there and there. Number two, we have a coach with a freedom of speech. We have a coach that I don't know whether it's a coach or is a head of disciplinary. That's the second thing that we are facing. Then I have a question that we do have several sports in the country. We have the likes of rugby, we have the likes of cricket, we have the likes of volleyball and tennis and blah blah blah. My concern it's on if you check how rugby it's been performing, and then you ask yourself that is it the problem of development, or is it the problem of that our players, they are not taking football serious, or or they reach football on the late stage? You know, if you can check something, let me give you a simple example. Have you ever went to the rural area in December time where there's a tournament and stuff? You will see the vision of South African football. Those guys, they are playing with their hearts. Maybe some because of maybe they have contributed their money to go to the tournament. They are playing for their money.
Yeah.
Or they don't have money to buy alcohol. So you will see a different vision of South African football. And then you will take the guy who's playing what in Zulu, mokwena or what, playing in those fields. And then when you start to introduce him to the professional level, and then the guy start to drop. The question is that is it the exposure of where they are playing, or where they are exposed to banyana and blah blah blah? There are a lot of things that is contributing towards that of dropping of performance. You have given an example with a child who's naturally genius in school. There's another one where now Pelaimisha Matso Abulela the answer. But when coming to ride, it's a different story. So South African football, we are failing. And it's not because of we don't have a foundation of development. We have so many development. I'm a coach. I wanna tell you something that it's very painful. Sometimes I do take my boys to play the big tournaments. Last year we went to Engine Cup. I was angry because of I wasted too much money. I've plugged so many money there, only to find out that they went there not to give me the performance that I wanted. They went there to take some pictures. Then when we were traveling back home, they were busy dancing, singing. Then I said, driver, can you just mute the music for a second? I just said, guys, we come from Limpopo to Gauteng, and for me, taking you from Limpopo to Gauteng, I wanted to give some of you the exposure that maybe one of you will get luck, and then some teams will see you, and then you'll find that they don't even mind. Now we put it on the table. If we can't beat the countries like Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and stuff, who are we going to beat? Okay, in terms of playing friendly, we are winning. We have this promising that the Bafana is back. But coming to a very serious
can I ask though, is the problem with our football that there's a lack of consequences all over the place?
Exactly. Because I feel like at some point those players, they need to be responsible. Like if you check that game, South Africa versus Cameroon, we have created a lot of chances where we couldn't convert even a single chance. Now it comes back that if we are not taking responsibilities where we can score, or we take that, let's play with our heart, guys. This is a die or win game. Mara, our players, they are not that serious.
That's why yeah, go on.
lebelela ba fitla mo go yona o ka re e ba expose gore ba be batho ba bangwe ba different. Because if you can take them or you will see a different vision of them. They are playing those guys. They are not that strong.
But again, doesn't it come down to, I mean, you don't have to be good in South Africa to make a lot of money.
Yes.
You don't have to score goals. You don't have to do all of the teams don't have to. I mean, Ushabe PSL, a team that's at the bottom of the log doesn't necessarily need to win 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row in order for them to not get their money. So if I'm getting my money anyway, if I'm getting a game time anyway, if I'm getting all of those things anyway, why would I try hard? What makes me want to try hard? At least Sheba, these guys from other countries, we've just spoken about it. Obi Mikel, I can't go home. I have no choice. If I mess up, there's no nice place to land when I go home. Isn't that, man, Tabayarona, Lidi coaches Arona? You are fired today, you are hired 2 weeks from now.
One other thing that it's killing our football, it's politics. We are taking politics, we have implemented politics in football. Now it comes back to the issue of Lodge, Tembi Kosi Lodge. The coach said a lot of things about the behavior and stuff, and then it comes again that let's check Umbule. Umbule, there's very same issue. Mara yet and I think one thing that it can solve our problem, it's that I wish one day World Cup or AFCON, all those players who won the AFCON in 95 or 96 on the camp. Ba kgone go aligna le bona gore ba understand gore go kera nation ka magetla keng, playing for the nation the king. Are they going there to play for their fame or ebe di celebrity and stuff? Ntwe re nyakang go gore di player tsa rena aba ke maekarabelo a go tseba gore we are representing the country. If you check how the Springboks e bapalang ka gona, you will feel those guys. I don't understand. Is it the system that we are using in football?
Yes. 100%.
Because 100%. The system, I don't want to touch the system, but the way our South African football, it's very disappointing because of issue this. Issue. Now, the question again, what are the criteria that it's to select the players? The criteria, okay, this one, 1, 2, 3. I don't.
I'm gonna have to jump in for time though, because it's for time.
Let me just finish the
very quickly.
Yeah, I don't see any problem for South Africa representing those players who are playing in the country. Like, even you check Barcelona, Spain has win a World Cup. Those guys who were playing this in Spain. Germany, all those players, they were playing in Germany. I don't see any problem. The problem that needs to be fixed is our system. And the player they must play with their hearts, like the way the Springboks they are playing.
For time, I'm gonna jump in. Before I let in say about, here's something. On that point, Yakuziso, here's something. I think the problem is that we think that these systems just exist and they work towards themselves. You know, there's pressure. I don't think in South African football there is a pressure. So when I talk about pressure, I talk about Real Madrid, where the president, I'm forgetting his name, the president, he has to account every 5 years. Every 5 years, he stands in front of the board and the shareholders and all of those people. He has to present a plan and they have to vote on it with other people that are coming to take his job. So it's in his best interest for him to continue doing really good things. Because at some point, I'm going to stand in front of people and they're going to say, hey, you need to go. Rassie was under immense pressure when he came into the Springboks. He was under immense pressure because the Springboks had not been doing well. Bo Nick Mellet, Bo Peter, De Villiers, they had been fired towards that. There was pressure. And his pressure is not for the Springboks to play well. His pressure is to go win a World Cup. That's the slate. Bo Ahly bana that we say they play trash football. Those guys are under pressure. They need to go win. You have to go win. If you don't win, they don't mind getting rid of you quickly. That is pressure. Now, face that pressure inwardly. Sundowns had won the league 8 times in a row. Which team was really under pressure to go and dethrone Sundowns? And I mean a need. And I mean, it doesn't matter what you're going to do, you're going to be fired after this. Sundowns wanted to go conquer Africa. They did it at Patrice Motsepe's most ruthless. Coach Pitso and Coach Pitso won. Before Coach Pitso, that man was hiring and firing left, right, and center. And he was giving you the resources to go and do what you needed to go do. But if we're being honest, how many times the Sundowns needed the Champions League? Not wanted, needed it. Matter of life or death. Or if you don't win it, when I run when new, when I Tebza, when I Muda, when I Banban, sin kipa nonke. Pagabanye, need. And that's why I asked the question again. In SA, do we need to go win the AFCON? Do we need to go to the World Cup? Do we need VAR? Do we need development? Or is everybody sitting in their corners and saying, guys, whoa, guys, hang on. Why do I need to spend 30 million in the hopes that I'll get 50? How about I keep this one because I know Uti and I can pay for everything. That's why teams die every single year in the PSL because they're hoping that, I'm going to get lucky and this card is going to pay everything for this year. The league's already giving me this. Then when the luck doesn't work out, I'm gone. We don't need these things, guys. VAR. I'm hearing everybody making great points about VAR. It's great points. You need to be in the future. You need to have it go well. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do that. It could be great for our football 10 years from now. Well, when Dr. Irvin is sitting at home, Dr. Kaizer sitting at home, do they need the Champions League, really? Salaries are paid. Everything is done. Sponsors keep coming back in. My team went 10 years without a trophy. Do we need it? Emmanuel saying, George, we don't have enough capacity to win the World Cup. We don't to win World Cup and AFCON. Why? Why not? What's stopping us? What's stopping us? What really is stopping us? The league ran out of a sponsor. Their sponsor left just last year. It took 2 weeks for Ntate Khoza to get 900 million over 3 years. What's stopping us? What capacity are we speaking about? We have guys in the backyard right next to us that you can go copy everything they do. The Springboks are right here. Rugby is right here. I know we always say, no, it's a different thing and it's a different... Guys, it's 30 years in now. Those owners in the PSL are worth hundreds of millions of rands. The teams are worth how much? The monies that are being spent. Think about the monies that Sundowns is spending right now. Facilities, what? What's stopping us? What's stopping us from getting VAR? Money. VAR's 80 million. I think it was 80 million and then 20 million to upkeep in a year. Betway alone is giving the league 100 mil. No, and Saru's not perfect, but at least they're working towards one goal. You get me? At least they're working towards one goal. But Betway gives us, we negotiated that deal now. 300 million over 3 years. That's VAR. But you don't have VAR because two things, politics and not really needing it. Why spend 80 million when you can just keep that 80 million and live your life? That's why they're trying to get somebody else to pay for it. But anyway. Siabonga, welcome. How are you?
OT, how are you, man?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good. Where do you sit on this conversation? Welcome.
I'm at the room because, hey, the kids are making noise there in kitchen.
No stress.
I just closed my room. So, yeah.
What are you saying about this conversation? What are you saying?
Brother. Yeah, man. I was all hurt when we lost, ne? But I knew we were going to lose. Ne? First of all, I've got a few points that I want to share. Yes, I know some will disagree with it. First of all, we were not prepared going to the tournament. I'll be honest with you. Why I'm saying that? It is because of, look at all the games that we've played before the tournament. You'll find out we played too much Southern African teams who are below our standards. You know? Yes, that's where the overhype started. And most of those games were played in South Africa, honestly speaking. Ever since we've lost with France, Madala went hiding and started to play weak friendly games. I don't know why. France beat us 5-0. Ever since then, Madala told himself, you know what, I'm going to play weak friendly games after this. And then we thought we are there, but unfortunately. Secondly, poor selection. Remember, during the qualification before the tournament, there were players that were there and they did well, you know, for us to qualify for the tournament. They were all not selected. I can name few of them. Reynas, Besatin, Kekana. You can go and on and on. You know, I don't know what was the reason for those players not to continue with the team. You know, to change the winning team, to me, that was a stupid mistake. Fine. Thirdly, to overhype old players, for me, yes, I know abanye bazantuka, but to overhype Uloch and Tshwane, it doesn't mean those players, if they are there, we're gonna win the CAF African Cup of Nations. They have been there before. We never won nothing. Do you get me? They are over 30 now, but we're still crying about them to be in the squad. What is the use of the DTC development if we're still crying for Lodge even in 2026? Do you get me? Look at our under 20. Look at those young boys. They qualify for the World Cup. They won the African Cup of Nations. That was a big thing for South Africa. It never happened before. Why don't you take one or two players from those boys, young boys, and give them the chance to play? For example, Tylon Smith is the under 20 best player in Africa. He is the under 20 best player in Africa. He did well. Why didn't you give that young boy a chance? Especially when you know that we are lacking at the back. I've watched Senegal introducing youngsters, about 19-year-old, scoring beautiful goals in this tournament. Why are we scared exposing these young boys? Look at Mufukeng. The whole group stages games, Bruce didn't play the boy. We know his quality, Before Police joined Orlando Pirates, that boy was carrying Orlando Pirates on his shoulder. Do you get me? So there is a problem here and there that needs to be sought in our coaching staff. That's all I can say. And also, there are players that I think deserve also to be selected, especially now we are being exposed. Players like Giflink, that guy has been consistently doing well in his club in Denmark. Why the guy is kept on being ignored? Do you get me? That left back, we are struggling.
What do you say? What do you say to the people that say we're only saying it now because they lost, but up to this point they'd been doing well?
Yes, as I said to you, remember the teams that we were playing. Even qualifying for the World Cup, we only beat Rwanda, Zimbabwe, and Lesotho. We didn't beat Nigeria. Do you get me? And let me tell you one thing. We were not going to qualify if there was no additional teams for this World Cup. We were not going to qualify. I'm telling you right now. We qualified because we played these below countries that I've mentioned. So what I'm trying to say is this AFCON exposed us. I was happy when I heard that the coach is going to evaluate the squad, is going to introduce new players, hopefully, because we are being exposed. We are not good enough.
Okay.
Check our stats. We played good, beautiful football, but we're lacking finishing. Why is that? To show that there is an experience that we are lacking. You know, locally, we are playing, there's more local players that we have. The Cameroon have more international players that are playing overseas. The quality was shown in that game. Cameroon had few chances, but they scored 2 goals. We had more than 11 chances, but we scored 1.
Okay.
You know, to show that we do need to introduce new players. Because these ones that are here are being overhyped. That's all I can see.
For time about a jumping taco Siyaboga. Zakwe, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hola, OT, how are you?
I'm good. Ubonan, tell me what you're seeing from this conversation we're having.
You know, when mangibheka, like mangikubona, like mangibukela isikrini sami manje, on top of you, the question is South African football overhyped? That's the first question that starts there.
Yeah.
And I ask myself as a young person, or obukela ibhola manje, I think abantu abokula kule panel and kula comment section, I think I'd say I'm young, I'm 19.
Okay.
And majority of these people are old. I'd
Yeah.
say that firstly.
Good
Firstly,
yeah.
damn, that's a fire. That's a fire. But I'm trying to say, I'm trying to say is that like there are things Guti Guti, we cannot say South African football is overhyped. It can never be overhyped because Nyamuza no babsiyabongo yakhuluma ukuthi no uthini ukhuluma ngento nge-structure ukuthi like why didn't he send the other team la kade bewakhona, why didn't he do this, why didn't he do this? My question is, how could you send Grant Kekana, who's not informed? That's me, who was not actually picking in. So in other words, you're telling me that we should replace the same Mbogazi, that we are seeing that he's prospering. We should replace the same Ngezane who's making things in the Europa Champions League wherever he's playing. Why aren't we sibasukumise bona ngoba yibo those are our top center backs currently in South Africa. We can say ukuthi ubani nobani, but those are the top center backs that we have. You look upon ukuthi bakhuluma nge-VAR. To me, I don't think the VAR will help us. So ngitshela ukuthi ke ukuthi i-offside ukuthi i-offside ukuthi hayi i-offside yezosinceda ukuthi siwine i-AFCON. Aneke Hotman Lam ubaba uthi we'd never want to win through VAR. VAR is it's a system that was created by the refereeing system so that we can never go to tuge abo referee mara let's tuge in VAR. That's why now we can say, oh, why VAR? It's no more the referee, because why? It leads to the VAR thing. So me, I'd say this: we can never say that South African football is overhyped. So you're telling me that abantu abaqala le bhola leli, because my understanding of South African football, the first person who created coaching license as a South Africa, nalaba bakuma comment section, if bayacava, I think I'd love them to write it down. The one person I know is Ted Dimitru. Ubani ubekazi kanjalo. Ted Dimitru wayaqala wabhala phansi coaching license. Yena nabo Farouk Khan nabo Kelvin Johnson. Who knows those stories? Guti, those are the founding fathers of South African football, which now they formed what? They formed a school of excellence. And in that type of Gutimelama for me school of excellence, they invited Abu Johan Cruyff, Abu Louis van Gaal to only watch how is South African football. But now, if we are saying that it's overhyped because of one thing. We are also not forgetting that we are not giants of Africa. We only won one AFCON, and that was when we are hosting it. When we hosted it 2013, why singakhuluma kanje? Why didn't we have the courage to say that South Africa bet? We were called a bunch of losers that time. People used to run away. But right now, we are standing in business. How many people are there right now speaking and coaching? Because yes, Hugo Prosu Paizile, maybe 5 defenders, but that was his gameplay. He went on Ngogdala Cameroon with a back 5 system because he understood, okay, this is what I am trying to get within his squad. So you cannot say Guti Umfuke Mbegasheli bench the whole group stages. It's not because of Guti u coach Guti Afuna at times. Kona lo munyu coach okhulumile wathi yena uyise abafana bakhe engine. He also knows sometimes it's not because wena ucoach wakunjani or uyal player. It's because of what? There are certain things and there are certain KPI methods that are needed Guti now u coach ukhethe squad right. Yangithola baba awuthi.
So we cannot say. But I want to ask you. I want to ask you. You know, you've just put down a lot, and what I'm hearing is that there was a time when football was a certain way. So there was a time I would to meet Abu Farouk Khan, Abu School of Excellence, Abu Clive Barker, all of those guys, and there's now a time where we have struggled to recreate or to build on those things. Do you think that this situation also speaks to it, that back then we were hungry, coming just out of apartheid, you know, ambition, you were eating ambition. Now with Pila Soft, you know, you don't need to go win the Champions League. Why do you want to go win the Champions League? You know, you don't need to go and do these things. Is that maybe something that we are missing also?
I don't think we are missing it. I think it's because we have lost our soul as a country. That's the thing. I think we have watched a lot of English football because Konabanye and also you, I am very sorry to say, but mina uyang disappoint. Me? You when you speak about president of Real Madrid, we can never, like, sorry to say, but guys, we can never compare club football and what's this, club football and national team. We can never, because there are two different matrix systems. On club level, we are working from Monday to Sunday if possible times. But at national team, we are taking the cream of the crop. We are taking them from the best of those countries. Like, look at in Nigeria. No, Nigerian league is not prospering, but their players are prospering because why? They have a blueprint of, okay, if we can get a player from, let's say, Lana Simise England, okay, uzo qualifier kanjani ukuthi afikelele phambili. It's either we do that or siyazisukumisa as a country. And I think as South Africans, we are standing into in those two spaces whereby yangithola ukuthi laba bafuna ukuthi baphu our best exports must go outside, abanye bathi mele bagcine ukuthi sisukumise country. And those are two things that
No. I was saying my example wasn't necessarily about club and country. My example is that
Yeah.
there's pressure. So
There's pressure, okay, yeah.
Danny Jordaan maybe acts differently if he knows that, every 4 years I have to go account to these people. So I'm going to do my level best to make sure that development is up to a certain level, that Safa's making a certain amount of money, or Coach Wami is under a certain amount of pressure. That's the example I was making, that I think we live in a world where we want the goodness of a person. It's the good. We think that these big clubs or big countries or whatever are functioning from, it's somebody who really loves football. But the truth is that in the back end, there's pressure. Pitso Mosimane had to go and deal with Ntate Motsepe every day. You know what I mean? If Hugo Bruce was under proper pressure, he'd know that when we land, I have to go sit down with the president. And the president is going to say, you were in the semifinals last year, last tournament, you're not anymore. You get what I mean?
I get you. Sorry to cut you.
No, go ahead.
Perspective. Yabona njengomelo in the comment sections. He's saying that Spain won the World Cup with tiki-taka football from Barca. But Del Fuente didn't play. Del Fuente, it's not Del Fuente, who's Del Bosque.
The Bosque.
Del Bosque is the best Spanish coach in the world, better than Pep, but we never say that. Would never say that, because Del Bosque was the person who brought the World Cup to Spain. But are we saying that to them, that Barcelona? It was never Barcelona. It was the manager that chose a pick of players from Barcelona and Real Madrid and other clubs. So if we can say that, mina into ngikhalela kuyena baba uthi ngicede so fast quick. Ukuthi abantu abaningi ne abakule comment section or kule live le baningi abangakhuluma bathi South African football is overhyped. It's because the reason why they can say that, it's because one thing, they don't know our structure with South Africa. First of all, abayazi ukuthi which team, abayazi sinawana Gunners edlalela ABC Multiple League, abayazi abazazi lawo ma team lawo ku ABC Multiple League. That all structure ukuthi umuntu usuka from SAB Vodacom to PSL ukuthi injani leyo tier system. No one knows that. We are always comparing ourselves to the Europeans, and we're making the Europeans look like they are the best. And I'm sorry to say, but I'm blaming a colonial, like I blame my apartheid ne colonialism. Ngenxa ukuthi no sesingenekhanda ukuthi yazini umlungu hayi usidlulile. Kanti kanjani? Umlungu yena wahlakanipha waqinisa lapho aqinisa khona. Njengathi singabantu abantsundu, mele sihlangana nathi siqine kulento lena nathi sikholelwa kuyo. Ngoba if we can say that no, this is not the type of football that we play, this is a systematic football. Who said football should be systematic? It's either it's modern football, and modern football relates to systematic football. But there's relationalism football. There's counter-attacking football. There's Catenaccio. Why can't we learn from the Italians? But we are saying that young toy. So I'm sorry, but I'm sorry to say, but they are not abantu abaningi abala. Don't watch SAP. Don't watch abaya kuma match SAP. Yes, it's not televised. But when you bugel into another sekas what's the talent? And put that player in that grass, and you think that he's gonna be better. He won't be better in my eyes. But hey, thank you, Nyabo.
Okay, no stress. Look, to add on to it, look, this is why I'm saying my chat about this whole thing was, and when I asked these questions, sometimes I remember on 3 Man Press, I asked the question, how do we win a World Cup? And even in the comments, everybody's going to say, no, we're not capable, we're not resourced or not. But that's why are you limiting yourself in that way? That's why even
Sorry to cut you. Someone said that why can't we learn from the Japanese? Good question, because the Japanese has a limit, like has a date whereby when they should win their World Cup, and that system. But yeah, man, I just
but that's what I'm saying, that whenever we speak about these things, I don't look at Europe. Fine, Europe is better, let's say. But what I'm saying is, why don't we put ourselves in a place to go compete with Europe? Why do we feel as though we have to do certain things in order to go compete, in order to, acquiesce? Why aren't we saying, as South African football, can we create a World Cup winning team? What does that look like? How do you resource that? How do you do this? We just keep saying, no, Europe, no, what. Even in the question that I'm asking about being overhyped, my whole thing is that can you be honest and say, okay, guys, simnandi la, simnandi. Now, how do we take umnandi betu and go and dominate an AFCON and win 5 in a row? How do we take umnandi wetu and go to a World Cup and dominate a World Cup? Hey, even dream big, maybe even want to go win. And when you start then looking at those things and saying, okay, guys, now we're not working towards it's fine, it's nice. We are working towards Siowina. Mfukeng, you're an incredible player in the PSL. But now we need to figure out how all of us can come together and make Mfukeng the best player on the African continent and make Mfukeng the best player in the world. What does that look like? Right? These are the conversations that I think we are not having to say, guys. That's why I keep using the example of, I don't think the facilities in South Africa are that far away from whatever is in Europe. I don't think, I was joking about the weights. If we diet and we do all those things, is it really that different than what happens that side? So why are we not doing it, especially Tina, who are in a league that's commercially what? We brag about these things all the time. So then why is there still a need to go send Mfukeng overseas? Why aren't we looking at the teams and saying, why can't you guys in-house, man? We've got the internet, we've got all these things, we've got the resources, we've got whatever. Why can't we, Mfukeng, why is Mfukeng not scoring 30 goals in the league? Because we've primed all of our resources and said we're bringing them together to this kid, right? But we always do what? No, he must go. No, he must do whatever. Then we sit back home and we say we're the best. Anyway, let me bring in Legendary Taki. Legendary Taki, welcome.
So how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks to you, my brother. Where are you sitting on this?
Just listening to the conversation. I just want to take it back a bit. We tried the whole, let's get some European experience. You Steven Pienaar back in the days. I'm going with the conversation, and it didn't work. Now we came with the whole, let's try the whole domestic football and see where it's taking us. Honestly, from my observation, if we take it back, Mr. Otsi, I heard the name Ted Dimitri be mentioned. But Ted Dimitri is not South African. Let's start there.
Yeah.
Back in the days, you had a Jeff Butler that was coaching a Kaizer Chiefs back then. Introduced your Tabo Mokis, your Libises and such. He was not South African. Up to most recently, your Jose Rivero, that has actually brought a bit of happiness to your Pirates, is not South African. Our current coach right now, South African coach, is not South African. It's from Belgium, I think. What I'm trying to get with this is that in order for us to conquer the world, we need to explore the world and find out how the world works. So for us, it's not a surprise that we didn't go as far in the AFCON, because how many players that we had in that squad are actually plying the trade in Africa? Two of them is Mokwena and Lodge. Lodge, unfortunately, was not selected. Mokwena was there. Those are the only two people that can, acclimatize and more or less know how Africa works in order for us to dominate Africa. You said something quite profound, that the reason why we killed it back then in your 1996 AFCON is that one, we were unknown, two, we were hungry. That's the only reason that we killed it. So now, the very same squad that is playing in this AFCON, about, I can mention, 5, 6 players, were playing in the last AFCON. Surely, if you get a team that's going to be clever enough, they're going to figure us out. There's no depth in the sense that even the players that were selected, there was no depth that if we don't have a plan A, this is our plan B. Coach Bruce stuck to a formation, fantastic. I understand why he did that. But what I picked up on the Cameroon game was very clever what he did. He changed the formation around. We were all surprised. That's why Cameroon was caught out. We could have capitalized a bit better. showing you that he adapted, but I don't think we had the players to actually execute what he was looking for. So it's a bit unfortunate that now we're actually dissecting after post the AFCON. But meanwhile, there were a bit more signs that we saw before even the tournament started. That there's a bit of lacking. Even if you to trickle down, the whole narrative of it's a Pirates, Sundowns players that are taking us to AFCON is a divide on its own. It's actually showing us the cause that as a nation, we're not even united when it comes to that. So it's not going to be a surprise that we're not going to go as far. I'm very impressed with a team like Nigeria. If you look at from how they started up to now, they haven't lost a game. But this is a very same Nigeria that we were marking that we qualified for the World Cup. Sharp, they tried, but where are they now? It's because they stuck to a very same blueprint of saying, you know what, we couldn't kill it in the World Cup, and they were accountable. The country was up in arms. That look, you guys cannot be in a position of not qualifying for the World Cup, and heads need to roll. So what you're looking at now is a team that actually is playing as a team, has a certain structure that doesn't change. Nigeria was hot from back then, even now. What are we doing wrong? It's because of from where we are, development is non-existent. I think Zach was one that mentioned that if you actually go to your townships, I'm privy enough to be in the township and see your tournaments that happen. You can see the hunger, Mr. Otsi. You can see that we love football. But is it enough for us to be in that conversation and saying we'll have an impact in the World Cup? I don't think so. You'll take a boy that's playing Eputwini and put him in an Old Trafford, for example. He's not going to cope because he's not used to the metrics. He's not used to the way that the world will play when it comes to football. So to a certain extent, I understand it was dominant to a sense. It was okay, but we really need to have a bit of a reset. And the reset doesn't happen on the field of play. It happens from the office. You can't have a David Totan. There was just a couple, I think, last year in a committee based on mismanagement of funds, and he's not accountable. How are you expecting him now to hold the coach accountable? Because the top of the top is not being held accountable by us as the nation. So for me, it starts from the top and it trickles down to the field of play. Right now, the World Cup. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you two questions.
Sure.
Number one, you spoke about the foreign guys, and it's always been the foreign guys, even Bruce to a degree, foreign guy who we've brought in. Do you think that we should outsource that entire thing, similar to what the other African countries do, where they don't groom the players, they don't necessarily develop all the players? All of that is done outside. So is that where we should be looking to go to say, hey, go learn these things outside? And then number two, do you think that we can still we can change the football without a revolution? Like you're saying about Danny Jordan, will it take a revolution to change it?
To answer your first question, I think yes, we have to outsource, but outsource strategically in a sense. If I put it this way, if you compare for me a Rele and a Yamal, has been exposed to European football quite early from his early stages. Now, if you compare talent-wise, for me, they're the same. It's just that the exposure that they have is quite different. So I think we come to a point whereby if you look at your France, for example, I'm sorry for using European countries, but for your France example, the current crop right now, look, you can actually point as to which teams they play for. Your Pacoli plays for PSG, your Olisa plays for Bayern Munich, but these are teams that are strong. So I think we have to come to a point where we need to outsource, and then we can blend in that local flavor that we have. But to answer your question, yes, we need to make sure that we outsource. And then to answer your second question, a revolution is going to be needed. You can't have a Lucas Radebe that's going to be honored in Leeds, but is not honored in South Africa by Kaizer Chiefs. A revolution is going to be needed. We're going to need football heads that actually can determine as to where this football should be going. We can't be talking about. I was laughing actually when this commentator, as we're playing Cameroon, that South Africa has won the tournament before in 1996, and Cameroon just won it most recently with Hugo.
2017, yeah.
It's a huge gap. It's a huge gap. We can't be still referencing 1996 even now. The only difference is that the pattern, I think, somehow got lost, where the football brains that we have right now are much more easier to critique than actually help out. And the reason they're doing that is that they're not being included in the growth of South African football. You have a Dr. Kuman as an analyst that knows how South African football is. He's an analyst. He's nowhere near SAFA. He's nowhere near in terms of having an input. You have a Lucas Radebe that at some point there was a bit of murmur that this is the guy that should be the president of South African football, which is good. You have a lot of players that are not being included, and therefore this current crop right now, are in a sense, a bit don't have direction when put that way. So football in South Africa is more money driven, to be honest. It's more overhyped money wise because we have the best league in Africa. It's the same thing in England. You know, it's overhyped that it has the most amount of money, transfers and stuff like that. But when you actually look at the football, it's a lot of foreigners that are there. In our case, yes, we have a lot of South Africans playing, but it's more overhyped money wise. You allude to the fact that VAR is not going to be introduced because your Dr. Ivan Khoza might not be looking at that. They're not ambitious enough to, say, I would rather do this for my country to benefit. It's rather the pockets are coming to them. So unfortunately, we see that. That's why the best football that you are going to get is from Epukini and as opposed to looking at your Pitso premiership. That's what I personally feel for myself. So the match against Cameroon showed me the fact that we can adapt. We can be, dynamic in a certain, but we do not have the players to execute. The certain things we should have read in the game. Like you have a Hakimi there that should have been taken out. Have a Moremi there. Put more pressure in Cameroon because we are born Balashide, man. The first 20 minutes, they were up for the taking.
For time, I want to jump in. Hey guys, I've already gone over. Let me go to Call Me Ricky. How are you?
Mr. OC, can you hear me?
I can hear you, my brother.
I'm fine, Mr. OC.
Tell me, where do you sit in this conversation?
No, it's okay. I think I have a very different opinion to what everyone else on this panel has said.
Okay.
So I think what people on this panel don't understand is that this is a process. You get me? So people have been like blaming the structure of South African football, the development, SAFA. But when you actually look at reality, like the reality of the situation, look at our best players at AFCON. Apollos, Moremi, and TLB. What do these players all have in common? They are young players who have been given the chance by Orlando Pirates. So this is what you want to see when you see a process. Né? You want to see players, your younger players coming and looking really good and then not looking out of place. For me, when you looked at our team at AFCON, the guys who look out of place, let me not say out of place, but for example, you see Otabofa Mokwena versus Egypt. Now, Teta is a very good player, but versus Egypt, I felt like he was taking long shots where he didn't need to take them. You see, Ngezana made like versus Cameroon trying to chip the ball where you just cannot chip the ball. Mbule trying to play at a very slow pace on side. So I think it's our older players so I think people just have PTSD on side. So I think it's our older players who are not at that level. What people need to understand is that this is a process. Look at our young players. They do not look out of place at all. They look really good. Not only in this AFCON, but just look at how South Africa has played in the past 3 months for the qualification of the AFCON and the World Cup. Look at how Apollos has played. Look at how Moremi has played. Look at how Tilby has played. Look at how Mofokeng has played. Look at how Motaung CAF has played. What do these players all have in common? They're from the development league, right? And they're very good players who have, let's not lie, they're the ones who've taken us to the World Cup and to the AFCON. They've been our best players in the past 3 months. So it's a process. This is what people need to understand. Our young players will eventually replace the older players, and we just need to trust the young players. So it's not about outsourcing or getting players overseas, because even when you look at Sundowns right now, I think their best product came when they were playing South African players. Right now they've been trying to buy Bo Suarez, that Argentinian defender, Bo Sales. Why are you buying Sales? You could be playing Adams. Right now, the only reason Adams is not playing is because Sales is then he cost a lot of money. But he's clearly not a better player. Even when you just look at the AFCON.
Yeah. No, go on.
Even when you look at the AFCON, now I feel like our worst players were the players who were playing outside of South Africa. I didn't think they were that bad, but I think they were objectively our worst players. I think Ngezana, Gabini, Yaya Fitole did not have that good of a performance, and Foster, for our star man, I think he was average. So now I think that's a process. I think what Pirates is doing is the right model. I just think Sundowns needs to go back to that, go back to the Percy Taus, go back to the Klompekekanas, and then we'll just see as we move forward. It's going to be a process, it's going to get better.
What do you say to the people that say that we've seen this process before? We've seen our Debs dominating under 23 World Cup, Olympics with evidence. I think evidence was there. We've seen swaths of young players come in and not really fulfill that promise of the process. What do you say to the people that say that over the past 15, 20 years, there's been a lot of young players that were really good, but it never materialized, and now what Debs might now start being phased out, and now we're just repeating the thing again.
What I'd say to that is, I think what that shows is the development is good in South Africa. The problem is when they get to that top level, when they need to take that next step. You see, just like Tilby right now, I'm very scared of what's going to happen to Tilby. Him going to Chicago Fire when he needed a better decision maker there. So I don't think these things. I think this is what we need to investigate. Why can't they take that next step? Why has Tebza not yet? Why didn't he go to Europe at a younger age? Why is Tilby going to Chicago Fire? And I just think the league in itself, at the very top level, I think that's where we need improvement. I think the development is fine. I just think we need to find better ways to improve. Like at the very top, at the Sundowns, the Pirates, the Kaizer Chiefs, can other teams also be a bit better? And then can we also find another way to getting our players to Europe?
Okay. Yeah. For time, I'm gonna jump in. Let me go to Pastor John Sterophonic, Prophet John Sterophonic. Hey, man, I've even got over.
Hey, my landlord. This topic we can go on for a very long time, and I think also you asked the question of where we want to be and where, if we want to win the World Cup, and if it's a goal not only as a nation, as the federation or as the association, I should say, then they must draft a plan to know that, okay, obviously we won't do it now in 2026, we won't do it in 2030. Then the goal is 2034. I know we've had these before with both Vision 2022.
Road to 2034.
2034. But now I'm just saying, I know we've had that with Vision 2022, and yet we failed. So now I think it's a matter of, yes, as much as we have a good league, and I think we feel that, I don't think it's overhyped, honestly. It's just the thing I will keep on mentioning, I mention it again. After our performance at the previous AFCON, it wasn't really looked at as to say that how did we get there. It was more like we looked at the result and we said, Simnandi. And then we looked at results following that in terms of qualifiers and World Cup qualifiers. We looked at that and we said, Mara Simnandi. But no one really looked at and said, okay, fine. What was our weaknesses? What actually prevented us from getting to the final? If we got to the semi-final, how do we improve upon the performances of that? And I don't think it was looked at. So we sort of, you could say we brought ourselves to like plateaued. We rested on our laurels, as I see on Petorata. Spot on. We rested on our laurels, and then it seemed like we set that very high expectation. And then once that expectation is not met, then now we start finger pointing, scapegoating, instead of literally looking deeper into saying, okay, but then Grand Sharp, how did we get there? And if we have that expectation of getting there, how do we get there? So now even any coach, foreign or even local, that comes and is going to coach Bafana, they must look at the coach and say, okay, this is the kind of coach that will take us there. But now that coach has to pitch and let us know, okay, how are you going to take us there? And what do you know about South African football? And how would you match what we know versus what we can do to achieve our goal going forward? And
but isn't this again a South African pattern that we stumble, or maybe even plan well, but we stumble towards something that we weren't planning, and then we can't, take it to the next level. Kaizer Chiefs stumbles to a final, can't take it to the next level. Sundowns stumbles to a final. It takes 8 years for them to come to another final. Pirates gets to a semi-final of the Champions League, can't qualify the following season. Isn't this just a South African thing that, man, in J, we just don't take these things into account that way?
It's an epidemic. But now when we're not looking for cures, we're just looking for vaccines. If we don't look for cures. We look for that one. It's a bandage nyana kamo, the pilis nyana, the ino nyana kada. But honestly, we need to be realistic for ourselves. But then if we really looking to, like, we look at the Springboks and say they're world champions, why can't Bafana be world champions? And you ask yourself the how. But then every time we go through the how, and I feel like most of our stuff that we do is more reactive than proactive. It's more proactive than reactive. We see a problem is coming, we sort of ignore it because of something is patching that problem. And once the scar is there and is bare, and you can't patch it with a bandage, now you're gonna have to go and what you call add some stitches. So nah. I'd like we're not overhyped. It's more like our problems were exposed. And
okay, can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Can I ask you this? Just as can I ask you this? Is it that we're not overhyped? Maybe we are underexposed as South Africans.
Okay, my question: underexposed in what way?
Best team in Africa, but you've never watched any of the African leagues. You've never really thought about the other stats that are happening outside.
Oh, that underexposed. No, yeah. But yes, and unfortunately, we can even go back to apartheid years. We've isolated ourselves, and by the time the world opened its doors, or the continent opens its doors, we didn't really explore. We're just like, but why should I? Even now, we'll talk about the best teams, the best club teams in Africa by name. But then if I'll give you an example of Enyimba, everybody knows Enyimba, two-time back-to-back CAF Champions League champions. But if you ask them, what are they doing in the NPFL? They'll know nothing. They don't even know that Remo Stars was the league champions and they faced Sundowns. That's the underexposure that you're talking about. Morocco, in Algeria, like I don't know. It's selective ignorance. But also we need to know that once we must watch the football there to know what we are facing with, what we are facing in terms of this. Then once we know what we are dealing with, then we can say, "Hi, man." But we are the best. But sometimes I feel like we're saying we're the best, but we don't necessarily know how these teams are playing or how are they structured outside.
But then on that token, do you think then we do better at a World Cup where yeah,
no, you shifted the goalpost now. But you shifted the goalpost because of exactly, like, as much as we say, okay, we're exposed to that, then it's now a matter of quality.
Okay.
There's the matter of quality.
No, I was just asking. No, guys. I'm gonna end the show there. Pastor, thank you.
What's it?
Who's winning AFCON?
Hey, I'll prophesy first game is a quarter final. But okay, Morocco, because VAR and CAF is with them. So yeah.
Allegedly. Guys, thank you so much for joining. As I say that, Ivory Coast has just scored a third goal. So here's an example of a team that won it, even though it was very tough for them, changing coaches, beginning of that tournament, really suffering. They've taken out your Halas and all of those guys, and now they're repeating. So can we repeat? Can we do something similar? I don't know. But in any case, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you to those who watched on YouTube. We went over quite a bit. But I think it's a very important conversation. And this is where we have conversations like these. If you joined late, right? If you join late, there's a whole 2 hours and 50 minutes of this conversation that will be available in full on YouTube. All of the live shows are there. So if you have not followed, please follow. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Unless Chiefs, Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, Banyana, Bafana are in action. I'm actually going to change that. We're going to watch the 9 o'clock games of the AFCON going forward, and then we're going to watch all of the games as we go along. So tomorrow, I believe I'm forgetting which game it is, but tomorrow we're going to be watching that game. Or not tomorrow, when we get into the quarterfinals, we're going to be watching those games at 9 o'clock so that we can continue on and not be ignorant when it comes to AFCON and African football. We're going to do those things. So it's going to be a watch along discussion type of vibe, and we're going to do that as we go along. But yeah, Ivory Coast 3-0 versus Burkina Faso versus Burkina Faso. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you then tomorrow. I'll check my statuses. I'll tell you exactly what we're doing. Thank you. Bye everyone. Thank you guys. Actually, before I go, Paul, Cloris, TGM, thank you for the gifts. And thank you to the guys that are watching on YouTube as well. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost on 40,000 on YouTube. So that is a very big deal. Bye everyone.